Chapter 161. Master asked me to be in charge of the affairs of this dojo. For example, the training will be held frequently. I have the obligation to remind every disciple, Zheng Daoxin explained. Especially during the last training, we encountered a demon and a lot of violent big goblin. In this 100-year trial, many immortal-level powerhouses obtained powerful magic treasures. They are eager to kill the demon and suppress the big goblin to build merit for the sect. In view of your situation, I'm only here to inform you. You should know about the training in your heart. No. With Zheng Daoxin's tone, it was obvious that he was just going through the motions to inform him. In his opinion, Su Feng, who had lost his gold core, could no longer cultivate and did not need to participate in all the activities of the dojo in the future. But what he heard was Su Feng's resolute objection. I can't stay in the dojo all day. I have to go out for a walk. Moreover, I just don't have a gold core. It doesn't mean that I can't control flying swords and artifacts, etc. Is that so? Zheng Daoxin was surprised. Obviously, it was beyond his expectations. Gather on time in 2 months. This time, there will be about 30 junior brothers with you. After Zheng Daoxin finished, he left in a flash. Back in the cave, Green Feather King appeared in his mind. Are you going to train to suppress the big goblin for cultivation? The Yangqi bead obtained from burning the big goblin is very helpful for cultivation. Just like swallowing a gold core, the Yangqi bead from the big goblin contains all the essence and demon power of the big goblin. It will be turned into Yangqi. Moreover, I only have 10 years. It is difficult to obtain a gold core during this time, so I'll find a way to burn the big goblin. The other reason is to suppress a powerful big goblin and make it a small commander. It will increase the strength of the mysterious yellow and help to cover up your aura. It can also help me merge with the mysterious yellow faster. Even if I have the pure yuan pill now, the medicinal power of the pure yuan pill only contains one-sided energy. The Yangqi bead is very different. It turned out that Su Feng had a plan for his 10 years of cultivation. Master, you still have to find a way to collect more gold and silver. Gold and silver, the origin spirit needed gold and silver chi. This was indeed a huge problem. Repairing the heaven and earth was a huge headache. Gold and silver were needed first, or mountains of gold and silver. Su Feng took out his command medallion. After searching for a bit, he found a place in the center of the 7 great heavens called Seven Wounds Peak. It was a place where the disciples of the 7 great heavens went to do business and walk around. Although it was called walking around, it was actually a place where the disciples of the 7 great heavens exchanged techniques, medicinal pills, and magical items. The 7 Wounds Peak should have an astonishing amount of gold and silver. After cultivating for a period of time, his strength improved again. He rode the frost sword and left the cave. Just as they flew out of the forest below the Dao field, there were many pavilions and palaces floating above them. These were all Dao fields, so naturally, some of the disciples were paying attention to the movements in the sky. Many disciples saw Su Feng and exclaimed, "Didn't Feng use Golden Core Shatter? How can he still control the frost sword?" You have never encountered a situation like the Golden Core shattering. Clearly, there are many situations. The shattering of the Golden Core varies from person to person. I think Feng Yu still has some ability to control artifacts. He has a large amount of pure yuan pills in exchange for the Berserker Mark Divine Power Cauldron. You don't have to say that. Everyone in our Dao field knows that. But don't forget that this person has the protection of senior brother Fu Tianxin from the high immortal heaven. Now, who dares to offend him? Sigh, if I had known that this kid was not simple, I would have let him come to my Dao field to cultivate when he first entered the sect. I could have benefited from his glory and obtained some pure yuan pills. It's too late to regret now. He has the support of an undying senior brother. The disciples were whispering to each other in secret. Su Feng had the ability of a great perfection saint, and his cultivation had increased. When he projected his ability, he could hear almost all the voices in the Dao field. Although he had never interacted with the disciples of the Dao field, he still wanted to understand their thoughts. Everyone thinks that without my golden core, I have to stay in my cave and never go out. After leaving the Tao field, he came to the world of the immortal heaven under the ice moon grotto heaven. As he traveled through the sea of spirit fog, he saw how vast the ice moon Tao field was. Large areas of mountains or forests were Tao fields controlled by a sect master, and there were nearly 1,000 disciples cultivating there. After half an incense stick's worth of time, he flew out of the barrier of the ice moon grotto heaven and arrived in an even more vast world. He could roughly sense the direction of the other 6 Tao fields. After a while, a mountain range that did not float in the air, but landed on the ground in the form of a giant, became the only existence in Su Fang's eyes. Seven Injuries Peak was almost at the center of the 7 Tao fields. At this time, he could see many disciples entering Seven Injuries Peak from different directions. There were also some spirit beasts flying in the sky. On the highest peak of the mountain range, there were many palaces. They were dazzling, like pieces of gold shining in the clouds. When he arrived in front of the largest palace, besides the disciples of the 7 Tao fields, there were also disciples. There were at least a few thousand people. Walking around, he roughly understood that each palace was a trading area. However, it was not easy to do business here. First, you had to be taken care of by the higher-ups. Second, you had to have the strength to establish yourself here. Many people want to do business here, so they fought openly and secretly. Of course, there had to be resources for sale, be it medicinal pills, rune talismans, magic treasures, or cultivation methods. Most of the people here were heavenly fusion disciples. Apart from those doing business, the rest were longevity disciples. Su Fang asked many businessmen. They did have gold and silver, but the price was quite expensive. Moreover, they did not have large amounts of gold and silver. That was because in the world of the immortal sealing sect, gold and silver were mundane things. What cultivators needed were medicinal pills. Kid, don't you want to learn the myriad god seal and the rainbow, soul-absorbing belt formation? Passing by a hall that specialized in selling rune talismans, Green Feather King reminded him. The myriad god seal is a sealing technique built on over 10,000 sealing rune talismans. To use the myriad god seal, you need to have over 10,000 sealing rune talismans as a foundation. How long would it take to condense 10,000 sealing rune talismans? The formation also needs rune talismans as a foundation. You have to collect such rune talismans. There are a lot of disciples in the immortal sealing sect who are learning sealing rune talismans and formation rune talismans. With Green Feather King's reminder, Su Fang felt that it was very reasonable. Back in the Xian Cave, if he hadn't relied on the Xian Cave's original barrier and used the rainbow soul-absorbing bell to set up an illusion formation, he wouldn't have been able to set it up. Rune talismans were needed to set up formations and seals, especially the Myriad God Seal. It required over 10,000 rune talismans. One could imagine how difficult it was to cultivate. As expected, it's that Fang Yu from the Cloud Forest Valley. He harmed my Gongsun family and your Lin family. We have to settle this debt with him. Last time I went to find Su Jinhua. That person was afraid of our two families' power and secretly helped us kill Fang Yu. But I don't know if his luck was too good and he still managed to survive. He even entered the Ice Moon Dao, right, to cultivate. We had to look for him for a long time. Su Fang was currently in the hall selling rune talismans. He wanted to understand the price of rune talismans and see which ones could be used to set up formations and seals. But he didn't expect to hear people talking about him. Lin family, Gongsun family, it was a little familiar. He suddenly remembered that when he was cultivating in Cloud Forest Valley, he had taught Lin Wei and Gongsun Jin a lesson. At that time, he had thought that the power behind them would come to cause trouble for him, but there had been no movement. So they had bribed Su Jinhua to harm him. Was it because of that accident when he was searching for the crack in Cloud Forest Valley seal? He pretended not to know and glanced behind him. He saw two longevity realm men. Their cultivation bases were too low from the 3rd to the 5th level of the longevity realm. The two of them were sizing him up with sharp gazes. I'm not used to people following me in the dark like rats. Su Fang smiled coldly. He wanted to see when those two would attack him. Brother Zhang, You want to sell this region? The price is too high. 50,000 pure longevity pills. That's expensive. At this time, there were several longevity realm experts in the corner. They were all from the 8th to the 10th level, especially one of the longevity realm experts. He wanted to sell this region. It seemed that he wanted to advance to the undying realm and cultivate in the high immortal heaven. In the future, he wouldn't need to stay in the low immortal heaven. He also didn't need to continue doing business in Seven Injuries Peak. It wasn't a matter of 1 or 2 days to collect a large number of rune talismans. Why not just buy all kinds of rune talismans? After having this idea, Su Fong left the main hall. The 2 experts from the Lin clan and Gong Sun swords secretly followed him. Su Fong deliberately walked into the forest. He heard the 2 secretly gloating. He also knew that one of them was called Lin Dongying and the other was called Gong Sun He. The 2 of them were preparing to attack him and take his life, especially his treasures. It turned out that the 2 of them also knew about Su Fong's recent movements. After listening carefully, the 2 of them had been in contact with the disciples of the Ice Moon Dojo to find out about his whereabouts. How did he disappear? He entered the depths of the forest and went around a cliff. Lin Dongying and Gong Sun, he realized that Su Fong seemed to have disappeared. They were stunned for a while. The 2 of them hurriedly chased after him. However, as they walked, they gradually slowed down. They were a little confused, as if they were in an illusion. Papa! Suddenly, a figure jumped down from behind. It was Su Fong. He slapped the 2 of them on the back with lightning speed, sucking out their golden cores and empty pouches. The 7-colored soul-absorbing bell is indeed a high-grade magic weapon. Even without setting up a formation, it can easily make ordinary immortal realm cultivators fall into an illusion. The 2 golden cores were still very useful. They could absorb essence. The 2 empty pouches didn't have many treasures, but it was still suitable for the 2 of them. Adding up their wealth, it was close to 50,000 immortal realm pure elemental pills. 7 Shang peeked without caring about how long Lin, Dongying, and Gong Sun he were unconscious for. Su Fong came to the main hall that specialized in selling rune talismans. He found the expert, surnamed Zhang, and took out 50,000 immortal realm pure elemental pills to buy this corner. The other party was very generous. He left the formation and some items for Su Fong before leaving. It seemed that he was determined to advance to the undying realm. Su Fong condensed 2 rune talismans and engraved a large amount of gold and silver, formation rune talismans, and sealing rune talismans on them. He was waiting for the seller to come. Very soon, someone came. He wasn't selling rune talismans, but gold and silver. Because the rune talisman was expensive, not everyone could refine it. Ordinary disciples of the immortality realm could only refine a dozen rune talismans in a year. Immortality realm experts who had reached LV9 and LV10 could refine dozens of rune talismans. However, they did not refine rune talismans all the time. After all, the focus was still on cultivating divine abilities and magic weapons. Strange, he's a heaven fusion realm cultivator. Why does he need a large amount of gold and silver? Who cares? His price is higher than ours. Gold and silver are not easy to sell. Even if cultivators have a demand, it's just a little bit. I really don't know who he's selling the gold and silver to. Who's willing to be a sucker? In the next few days, Su Fong's business was endless. They all came to sell gold and silver. Su Fong used immortal realm pure elemental pills or low-grade and mid-grade spirit stones to buy them. The price was higher than normal. There was always business coming to him. In order to repair the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda, everything else was just worldly possessions. Such a large amount of money also caused the other businessmen to be puzzled. Chapter 162. Gold and Silver. Someone's buying gold and silver. How could there be such a fool? 7 Shang peek over the past few days. Su Fong had publicly raised the price of gold and silver. 7 Shang Peak was in an uproar, and everyone was talking about it. As a result, a large number of disciples came to sell their gold and silver. If Su Fong wanted pure yuan pills, he had pure yuan pills and spirit stones. Although he couldn't compare to the undying realm, he could compare to any longevity realm disciple. The empty pouches of Yin Qi and the other experts had originally contained all kinds of magic treasures, pills, spirit stones, and cultivation techniques. Su Fong didn't need them, so he could use them to buy gold and silver and rune talismans. His greatest wealth was 30,000 immortal pills. Any immortal realm disciple could take out 1,000 immortal realm pure elemental pills. This was because immortal realm cultivators were only qualified to have immortal pills. He took out all the magic treasures he didn't need to trade, and he also obtained some good treasures in the 100-year trial. Not to mention gold and silver, he could even buy a lot of rune talismans. Fong Yu. There were all kinds of people on Seven Shang Peak. Because Su Fong was buying gold and silver, the hall selling rune talismans was packed with people. One of the experts seemed to have come to see what was going on. He heard that a Frozen Moon Paradise disciple was buying gold and silver, which was a rare thing. When he saw it, he was shocked. Li Zhengyang. When Su Fong raised his head, he also saw the man. It was Li Zhengyang, who he had met once during the 100-year trial. This expert from the Withered Wood Dao sect wasn't fated, but a personal enmity. Li Zhengyang's eyes flashed with a cold light. Good. I've been thinking about how to find this brat every day. Who would have thought that my luck would change today? Instead of hiding in the Dao sect, he dares to come out. But just as he was about to attack, he suddenly thought of something that made him fearful. He had no choice but to endure. He gave the barbarian Mark Divine Force Cauldron to heavenly deity Fu, which offended many people from Frozen Moon Paradise. Heavenly deity Fu is an undying realm expert. I should wait for the best opportunity. Li Zhengyang slyly retreated, not wanting to attract Su Fong's attention. Make way. The crowd suddenly welcomed another group of aggressive people. Many immortality realm elites were disciples of the myriad Dao Grotto Heaven. Lin Dongying Gong Sun He. With the arrival of such a group of people, many disciples who wanted to sell their gold and silver had no choice but to give way. Su Fong stood up and saw two familiar faces. They were Lin Dongying and Gong Sun He, whose Jindan had been destroyed by him. However, the two of them were not overbearing. Instead, they were protecting them. More than 10 immortal-level experts rushed towards them. Lin Dongying pointed at Su Fong. He was the one who ambushed us and crippled our Jindan. Su Fong didn't understand. He was very calm. What Jindan? What did I ever leave this hall? If any one of you wants to make trouble for me, just say it. Don't try to frame me. An imposing man walked out from beside Lin Dongying. This is Gong Sun Ji from the Myriad Dao Grotto. I'm Lin Finghao. These two are experts from my family. A few days ago, they were ambushed by a disciple from the Frozen Moon Grotto called Fong Yu. He destroyed their golden cores. Today, we're here to settle this debt. There were many high-level, immortal-level experts around. They cupped their fists to the two. Brother Lin, Brother Gong Sun. These two are immortal level 9. They must have deep connections in the 7 Grotto Heavens. He looked at Lin Finghao and Gong Sun Ji. These two should be the strongest experts from the Lin and Gong Sun families. In other words, if he took their golden cores or intimidated them, the Lin and Gong Sun families wouldn't bother him in the future. Swordsman Chung, Brother Chung. Suddenly, the crowd moved again. A few disciples walked over. Swordsman Chung. They were Swordsman Chung and a few experts from the Frozen Moon Grotto. Gong Sun Ji stopped Swordsman Chung. Brother Chung, this is a personal grudge between us and Fong Yu. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with me. I'm just here to watch the show. We're not familiar with Fong Yu. Unexpectedly, Swordsman Chung waved his hand coldly. A smile appeared on Gong Sun Ji and Lin Fenghao's faces. Their nervousness disappeared. The surrounding people were curious. Why didn't they help each other? Why did they come and watch the show instead? I remember who this Fong Yu is. He's the one who stole a lot of treasures from immortal-level experts during the 100-year trial. Yes, but I heard that his golden core was destroyed. Who knows? Anyway, this person must have offended many immortal-level experts during the 100-year trial. It's going to be interesting. There were at least a few hundred people in the hall. Those who were doing business no longer cared about business. They were just watching the show. Their whispers were clearly heard by Su Fong. He couldn't help but sigh. I've offended so many people. Once I appear in the celestial ceiling sect, trouble will come. Wave after wave, they all want my treasures. I heard that Fong Yu sold a high-grade enchanted item to an undying expert in exchange for a large amount of pure yuan pills, and even a large amount of undying pure yuan pills. The crowd once again exclaimed in surprise. It seemed that Lin Fenghao and Gong Sunji didn't come just to avenge Lin Dongying and Gong Sunhee. The two of them walked towards Su Fong. Fong Yu, you're so cruel to our experts. We have to get justice from you. Justice. Su Fong smiled faintly. He knew that it would be difficult for him to leave this place today. Facing Lin Fenghao, Gong Sunji, Li Jingyang, and the other greedy experts who would attack him at any moment, he had to think of a way to deal with them. Suddenly, he grabbed an empty bag and a rune talisman appeared in his hand. It was a life origin rune talisman. After activating it, it released a terrifying aura that surpassed the immortal level. Immortal might. Once the aura was released, Lin Fenghao and Gong Sunji's expressions changed. They immediately retreated. As long as they were immortal level experts, they could see how powerful the rune talisman in Su Fong's hand was. Su Fong swept his gaze over the crowd. Holding the undying expert's rune talisman, he walked to the center step by step. Legend. Everything is not a legend. I really did sell a high-grade magic item to an undying expert. And it wasn't an ordinary undying expert. It was a peerless expert from my Ice Moon Dojo who broke through to the undying realm. As long as I summon the rune talisman, this expert will immediately appear. Who dares to touch me? You. Lin Fenghao's expression was too ugly. Legend is just a legend. That's right, I, Fong Yu, obtained a large amount of treasures during the 100-year trials. There are also high-grade magic items. You all want them, don't you? Su Fong said what everyone was thinking. But I'm not as treacherous as you. I won't use the undying expert's rune to scare you. I'll set up a formation on 7 Injuries Peak, and I'll place all the magic treasures I obtained inside. There's also a large amount of immortal pure origin pills. If you have the ability, then enter the formation and take them. I'll give you a fair choice. Of course, you also have to give me a fair choice. I won't use the undying expert to oppress you. If you want my treasures, then rely on your own strength to enter the formation and take them. Crash. After saying that, he flew out of the palace with the undying expert's rune talisman. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the highest point of the 7 Wounds Peak Square. A large number of disciples flew in from the surroundings, following closely behind him. It seemed that all of them wanted to obtain Su Fong's treasures, as well as the pure yuan pill of the undying realm. Formation, they also didn't believe that a heavenly union cultivator could create such a powerful formation. Su Fong hovered in the air, looking at the thousands of disciples. I'm a man of my word. If you have the ability, then take my treasures inside the formation. If anyone doesn't abide by the rules, then I'll invite an undying expert to cripple their gold core right here on 7 Injuries Peak. You're right. We'll definitely abide by the rules. If anyone doesn't abide by the rules and use other methods to obtain your treasures, then we won't be willing. A large number of experts expressed their agreement. Swoosh! Su Fong took out the large amount of formation runes he had bought in the past few days. So he bought my formation runes to set up a formation. He didn't buy them as a business transaction. He had long since thought of this day. Among these people, quite a few had done business with Su Fong before. From the formation runes Su Fong released, they saw the runes they had refined and were filled with emotions. Over 100 runes spread out in a circle. As Su Fong activated them, all the runes exploded at the same time. The Xian Guang formed a huge formation barrier, and Su Fong entered the barrier. 10 days. In 10 days, I'll open a formation door. At that time, anyone can come in and take my treasures. Of course, other than the undying experts. This kid is really arrogant. Let's see what he's capable of. Many people were getting more and more excited, sharpening their weapons. As for Lin Fenghao and Gong Sunji, they could only glare at the formation. At first, the two of them had thought that Su Fong's gold core was shattered. No matter how strong he was, he could easily take them. They hadn't expected him to have runes given to him by an undying expert. An undead realm expert could easily crush the two of them. Lin Finghao said, Good. Brother Gongsun, let's make a good plan. This kid is openly seeking death. That's exactly what we want. We'll openly take everything from him and break his formation. All right. Gongsun Ji revealed his killing intent, and the two of them immediately left. Fang Yu, you're courting death this time. I won't let you off. Cheng Jinxia and the other experts of the Ice Moon Dao Rite were no exception. They all wanted his treasures, especially the 30,000 undying pure yuan pills. Once they obtained them, they would be even more valuable than an enchanted item. They could help one advance to the undying realm. Furthermore, having 30,000 pure yuan pills in the undying realm would allow one's cultivation base to rise quickly. Not to mention immortal level powerhouses, even the undying powerhouses from the high immortal heaven would be tempted as well. Ice Moon Paradise Xing Daoxin hastily arrived at the floating Azure Mountain Dao Rite. After waiting for a moment, she passed through the formation and arrived at a spatial barrier. Yin Kaifeng slowly appeared. Master, disciple just received news that our Fang Yu is the disciple who performed well in the 100-year trials. He publicly set up a formation on 7 Wounds Peak and challenged all the lower Immortal Heaven disciples to a fight. He said he would place his Dharma treasures and undying medicinal pills in the formation. Whoever can obtain them can have them. Zheng Daoxin bowed to Yin Kaifeng and told him everything that had happened on 7 Wounds Peak. Yin Kaifeng was also startled. During our cultivation era, there were also some geniuses from the lower Immortal Heaven who would always stir up trouble. I didn't expect this Fang Yu to be so courageous. His actions are unusual, and he always does unexpected things. Ever since Fang Yu entered our Dao Rite, he's been surrounded by troubles. I thought he would be well-behaved. Who would have thought that without a golden core, he would still dare to cause trouble? Take good care of this trial. It seems Su Fang won't be able to return to the Dao Rite for at least a year. We'll know in a year. Yin Kaifeng told Zheng Daoxin to leave the space. She frowned. Could it be that the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell has fallen into his hands? If that's the case, then for him to cause such a disturbance, he really is scheming. Chapter 163. 7-colored soul-absorbing bell. The sect is especially interested in the 100-year trial. 3 divine images and more than 10 treasures. Fang Yu not only got the Barbarian Rune Divine Cauldron, but also the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell. His luck is extraordinary, but his golden core is broken. If he can't continue cultivating, his luck will be buried by reality. Let's see how far he can go this time. Yin Saifeng's face was covered by her supernatural power, so her face could not be seen. However, one could see the vibrant colors in her eyes. 7 injuries piqued tens of thousands of disciples, formed a sea of people, surrounding the formation in the middle of the square. Many immortal-level powerhouses were waiting anxiously. Among them were hundreds of elites from the Withered Wood Dojo. Not only were they longevity realm experts, but they were also peak existences. Chun Xian and Li Zhengyang were among them, and there were several experts by their side. Chun Xian gathered them and whispered, Senior apprentice brother Yin Chongluo must keep his word. Whoever can take advantage of this opportunity to kill Fang Yu, his treasures will be split among everyone. Senior apprentice brother will also help everyone advance to the undying realm. Senior brother Yin must be angry about Yin Qi. But Fang Yu is protected by Fu Tianxin from the Ice Moon Dojo. It won't be easy for us to kill him. This time, Fang Yu is arrogant. He said it had nothing to do with Fu Tianxin. Fu Tianxin won't protect him because of that. Since senior brother Yin is supporting him, let's join hands and take Fang Yu's treasures first. Then we'll kill him. Senior brother Yin is trying to reach the undying realm. It's very likely that he'll reach the immortal touching heaven soon and become an undying realm expert. At that time, he'll be the supreme emperor of the immortal sealing sect. Chun Xian was using Yin Chongluo's power to assign tasks to the experts. Their goal was to kill Fang Yu. Yin Chongluo won't give me any benefits. Then I'll take Feng Yu's treasures before they do. I don't believe I can't deal with a piece of trash without a golden core. Li Jingyang didn't need to listen to Chen Xian to know that he was under Yin Changluo's orders. He looked around and saw many longevity realm experts from the 7 grotto heavens. Even the swordsman from the Frozen Moon Cave and Song Changsheng, who had lost his arm, could be seen in the crowd. They were all dragons and phoenixes among men. It was very easy to find them. Apart from the top 10 geniuses on the ranking list of young masters, there were many famous experts who had reached the 10th level of longevity realm. Inside the formation in this short period of time, Su Feng had been releasing spirit stones, combining rune talismans, and refining rune talismans. Within the formation, he had set up layers of formation worlds, one layer after another. He himself had just come into contact with formations. If it weren't for the guidance of Green Feather King, it would be a fool's dream to complete a formation that could subdue a longevity realm expert in 10 days. At this time, Su Feng was concentrating on condensing the formation runes. Using the aura of himself and the 7-colored soul-sucking bell as the main energy source, he could condense dozens of runes within a day. In order to make it easier for the immortal realm experts to fall into the trap, he added the Daluo Heavenly Sword Chi Rune Talisman to form an attack space in the formation. Using the attack as an illusion, he lured the immortal realm cultivators step by step into the illusion. Dreamland, in truth, it was just a bait. For example, when fishing, an experienced fisherman would always have bait to catch a big fish, as well as an endless supply of fish. Outside, even more immortal realm experts had gathered. It was just a formation, but it had attracted most of the immortal realm experts from the 7 grand heavens, who told the formation to have a legendary treasure, as well as 30,000 undying pure essence pills. 7-colored soul-sucking bell. I'll be relying on you this time. In the center of the formation, Su Feng had condensed a large number of rune talismans. Fortunately, he had bought a lot of rune talismans before, or he wouldn't have been able to set up such a qualified formation. Activating the 7-colored soul-sucking bell, Su Feng felt his state of mind fuse with the illusory restrictions within the bell. If he wanted wind, he could hear the wind. If he wanted rain, raindrops would fall from the formation space. Green Feather King also let out a sigh of relief. Don't worry about energy. This king has the immortal sealing sex core. Your cultivation base might be low, but you have an endless supply of energy. That's your greatest advantage. Su Feng gradually relaxed, and his eyes blazed. I want to let all the disciples of the immortal heavens see how a heavenly union disciple like me can rely on myself to stand in this heavenly paradise. Haha, you definitely have the courage to look down on the world. Green Feather King's hatred for the immortal sealing sect was all channeled to Su Feng. He wanted Su Feng to take revenge for him. At the same time, he could truly help him obtain his freedom. Buzz! Su Feng's confident voice echoed through 7 Injuries Peak. 10 days have passed. If anyone wants to take my treasures, come. But if anyone tries to attack the formation outside, don't blame me for being impolite. At the very least, I'll leave, and no one else will have a chance to get the treasures. Whoosh whoosh. Once the door appeared, no one listened to him. They all fought to be the first to enter the Xian cave. However, of the 10,000 disciples, only a little over 1,000 moved. Most of them were watching from the sidelines, waiting to see just how powerful this formation was. Over 1,000 people flew through the door. 7 Injuries Peak quieted down. Many pairs of eyes and ears were perked up, listening to the movements within the formation. The immortal sealing sect's disciples were all waiting, but the formation didn't move at all. It looked like it hadn't been activated. Inside the formation, what the hell is this place? A heavenly union disciple can't possibly create such a powerful formation. Yes, he's just deliberately mystifying things. He's using this chance to hide in one of the layers of the formation. At most, he'll use some kind of magic treasure that can fuse with the formation to hide himself. A few immortal-level experts were searching in the formation. At this time, they saw a forest in front of them. At first, they felt that the forest wasn't real, so they tried to use their divine abilities to sense the forest. As expected, the forest was illusory. After all, these were longevity disciples who had received much training from the immortal sealing sect. They were more or less familiar with formations. Jia. Even if they used their divine abilities to attack the forest, causing it to turn into an illusion, the experts still felt a chill when they entered the forest. Moreover, since the forest was an illusion, it didn't have any effect on them. However, why didn't it disappear? It kept appearing in front of them. While they were searching, a few huge figures suddenly flashed from the forest. It turned out to be a flying tiger. The flying tiger landed in the forest and hid. From time to time, it would pounce out. It looked like it had become a hunter, hunting down the experts. It's also an illusion. Ignore it. One of them wanted to kill the flying tiger. After all, it was a tiger demon. However, his companions told him not to attack. They thought that the tiger demon was also an illusion and couldn't possibly have the ability to harm people. However, they were wrong this time. The flashing flying tiger spewed out flames. Huff! The flames swept over. At first, the few of them didn't stop. However, when the flames rushed over and revealed a shocking heat wave, the four of them realized that the flying tiger wasn't an illusion. However, it was too late. The flames hit the few of them and turned them into burning men. They struggled to fight the flames in a sorry state. These arrogant people don't know that I made them lower their guard at first. In this illusion, the real is illusory and the illusory is real. Only then will the formation be more powerful. A figure approached the four burning men with the help of the formation. Although the four of them weren't burned to death, the spiritual fire from the flaming cloud, spiritual gourd, still burned them. Since you broke into the formation, you want to take everything from me and harm me. Why should I be merciful to you? Leave your empty pouches behind. Pa! Pa! The four of them were all immortal stage 4 to stage 6. The spiritual fire didn't feel good. The few of them were no longer in the mood to care about the illusion and the surroundings. Su Fong flashed over and used the 100 acupoints finger technique to hit their backs at the same time. The 100 acupoints finger technique sealed their blood vessels, spiritual power, and dantian. The empty pouches were naturally taken by Su Fong. As the four of them didn't have spiritual power to support them, they fell down one by one and slept soundly. Without spiritual power, how could the four of them resist the illusion? Naturally, they fell asleep in the illusion in an instant. As long as the formation didn't disappear, they would always be asleep. Master, a lot of gold and silver power came out of the flaming cloud spiritual gourd. The mysterious yellow feels like it's burning vigorously. After leaving the formation, he put away the empty pouches. The origin spirit, the mysterious yellow, happily transmitted its voice. The shocking amount of gold and silver traded during this period of time was enough for the mysterious yellow to absorb for a while. On the other hand, in order to integrate with the mysterious yellow, he also began to absorb some gold and silver energy to integrate with the yang qi in his body. As long as he took back the third purple spirit and the mysterious yellow was restored to perfection, the mysterious yellow could become his life source magic weapon. There's still people targeting me. It's better if they're enemies. I'll get rid of them here once and for all. The great perfection ability was released all the time. When passing through a formation, he heard that a few people were looking for him. They were not looking for the treasure placed in the formation. This was thought-provoking. Looking through the formation, it turned out to be the powerhouses of the Withered Wood Dojo. And two of them had followed Qin Xian to his dojo and threatened him. Obviously, these people were Yin Changlua's henchmen. It seems that Fang Yu does have some ability. Otherwise, how did he eliminate Yin Qi? The 6 Withered Wood Dojo's immortal powerhouses searched step by step in the foggy world. Although it was said to be a foggy world, it was actually just their illusion. In the eyes of Su Fong, the 6 of them were like old men with guilty consciences. They did not dare to make the slightest movement. They came under Yin Changlua's orders. Their cultivation is between Immortal Stage 7 and Immortal Stage 9. It seems that each of their empty pouches is full of fat fish. Slowly forming hand seals, the 6 people who were moving forward in the fog suddenly entered another boundary. They searched in the boundary, and gradually, some magic weapon's luster was released in the space. Someone shouted greedily. Could it be that Fong Yu put the treasure here? That's great. Let's take the treasure first, and then kill Fong Yu. Even if we can't kill Fong Yu, we won't have come in vain. At least we'll get the treasure, and Qin Xian will also give us benefits. Daluo Heavenly Sword Qi. Su Fong muttered in his heart. Suddenly, in the space of the magic weapon Xianguang, a spatial formation appeared. A large amount of sword Qi surrounded the 6 of them. This is my territory. I'm a master. Be careful. This is Daluo Heavenly Sword Qi. Fong Yu is just a heaven union realm. How can he cultivate his divine ability to this level? Also, he doesn't have a golden core. The 6 of them seem to be fighting in the air. They released their magic weapons to defend themselves, or used all kinds of divine abilities. In Su Fong's eyes, they were like 6 little monkeys. In the illusion, the immortal stage experts had no choice but to be played like monkeys by a Heaven Union Realm disciple, combining reality and illusion. Su Fong already understood the essence of the illusion. Of course, without Green Feather Monarch's guidance, he would not have reached a higher level so quickly. I'll let you guys get the treasure of your dreams quickly. The 6 of them had already fallen into the illusion. Su Fong formed a few more seals. Gradually, the 6 of them stopped releasing their divine abilities and put away their magic weapons. They were running excitedly towards the center of the empty formation. Chapter 164. Several treasure chests floated in front of the 6 experts. Magical treasures danced in the air as they fought over the treasure chests. Clap, 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 Su Fong easily succeeded. He performed the 100 acupoints finger technique and attacked them from behind one by one. As they were immersed in the illusion, the 6 of them could not regain their consciousness in a short period of time. In such a state, the immortal level powerhouses were like weak chickens, falling into a deep sleep one after another. Another 6 empty treasure chests. Ignoring the 6 of them, he returned to the formation and continued to use his perfect realm energy to sense the movements of over 1,000 experts. Several days later, more and more disciples gathered in the sky above 7 Injuries Peak. There were already tens of thousands of people. Other than the first batch of over 1,000 people who had entered the formation, there were very few people who had flown in during this time. The others were all waiting for news. It seemed waiting was the right choice. For several days, no one came out of the formation, nor did they cause any disturbances. It was as if the disciples who had entered the formation had all disappeared. No one knew what was going on inside. I will definitely avenge my lost arm. Within the formation, Song Changsheng, who had lost his left arm, had been searching in the formation for who knows how long. He wanted to find Su Fong and steal Su Fong's treasures. Along the way, he had encountered several disciples with weaker cultivations. In the end, they had all been injured by him. This person was not the ordinary kind of ruthless, adding on his longevity stage 7 cultivation base. Even without his left arm, his strength was still there. I was wondering who was thinking of me. So it was you, Song Changsheng. Su Fong heard a different voice and immediately came to find him. From above, he saw Song Changsheng moving through the clouds. Coming from the same sect, Su Fong did not want to offend him. But this person wanted to kill him, so he could not just sit and wait for death. Sitting and waiting for death was not his style. Since the enemy had delivered himself to him, he would not be polite. After a few rounds, Song Changsheng seemed to have lost his way. After tossing and turning for a long time, Song Changsheng was unable to walk out of the illusory realm. He thought to himself, could it be that the formation Fong Yu set up is strange? It can't be. A Heaven Fusion Realm disciple. Even if he is someone who has surpassed his realm, his strength should only be around longevity realm level 1. How could he have the ability to set up such a profound formation in such a short time? Even I'm unable to do it. This Song Changsheng is quite a character. It's a pity that he's my enemy from the same Dao sect. If I can't destroy his gold core, I'll be too ruthless. It'll be difficult for me to establish myself in Frozen Moon Paradise in the future. After pondering for a while, Song Changsheng had completely sunk into the illusion and seemed to be in a daze. With a bang, Su Fong easily subdued the 7th-layer Immortal Realm expert. Last time, when he had dealt with Song Changsheng, he had borrowed the power of the profound cave storm. But this time it was different. He had relied on Su Fong's ability to subdue Song Changsheng. Have a good sleep. I'll teach you a lesson. The empty pouch is mine. After taking the pouch, Su Fong ignored him and returned to the center of the formation. After a period of time, more than half of the thousands of people who had entered were trapped in the formation. These people were easily subdued by Su Fong, and he took away hundreds of their pouches. At the center of the formation, Su Fong was looking for gold and silver among the hundreds of empty pouches. There really was a lot of gold and silver. When he took it all out, it was about the same as the gold and silver he had bought before. Xian Huang excitedly cried out, "Master, there's so much gold and silver again. If this continues, it won't be long before Xian Huang recovers. I'll speed up the collection. There are still hundreds of people left. Once I subdue them, those experts outside won't dare take half a step into the formation." Sitting beside the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell, he absorbed a faint gold and silver energy from the Flame Cloud's spirit gourd. When the gold and silver energy entered his body, it was like a stream of gold and silver was flowing through his meridians. When the gold and silver energy entered his body, he didn't feel any obvious changes. It only made his spiritual energy slightly stronger, and it seemed to have undergone some qualitative changes. The main point was still to break through his 2nd yang meridian. The more yang meridians he had, the stronger he would be. As for those people who had entered the formation, he would let them slowly fall into an illusion. When they had no power to fight back, he would subdue them. Another month passed, and Su Fong was attacking the 6th level of Heaven Union. After using a large amount of resources during this time, and adding on the rich spiritual energy of the Immortal Sealing Sect, Su Fong was about to reach the 5th level of Heaven Union. If you can control puppets, you can refine them into formation puppets. But you've learned too many things, so you have to learn them one by one. With the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell, you'll only be able to fully unleash its power when you reach the imperishable realm. Su Fong began to take away the empty pouches one by one. Another 200 experts fell into an illusion and were unable to extricate themselves. Su Fong was busy snatching the empty pouches, and he was a bit flustered. Green Feather King was constantly giving him ideas. Another expert from Frozen Moon Grotto. In addition to Song Changsheng, Su Fong had another expert from Frozen Moon Grotto. And it wasn't just one person. A few more people had appeared. This time, Su Fong didn't snatch their empty pouches. Instead, he gathered them in the same formation space, so as to prevent other experts passing by the formation from snatching their empty pouches. At that time, he wouldn't be able to explain himself. Thinking about it, he still couldn't make too many enemies, at least in Frozen Moon Grotto. And once these experts woke up and learned that other people's pouches had been snatched away while their own pouches were still there, they would understand that Su Fong had done it deliberately. It was equivalent to selling them a favor. As long as they were tactful, they wouldn't be enemies with Su Fong in Frozen Moon Grotto in the future. As for the other Grotto Heaven's disciples, Su Fong wouldn't be polite and snatch their empty pouches one by one. Whoosh! Suddenly, Su Fong turned around and looked at the center of the formation. Someone's actually approaching the central formation. Green Feather King wasn't surprised. The Immortal Sealing Sect is so big. There must be people skilled in formations, and some disciples specialize in the Tao of formations. It seems you've encountered a very troublesome formation cultivator. Whoosh! In a breath's time, he jumped out of the formation. Not far in front of him was an ink-robed man releasing a faint Xian Guang, as well as some spirit marks. He wasn't affected by the illusion. The man seemed to have isolated himself from the formation. At the very least, his 5 senses were sealed, so he wouldn't be easily controlled by the formation. And this man's methods weren't limited to just this. Swish! What surprised Su Fong was that the man actually turned around and shot out a wave of sword chi towards the space he was hiding in. The ink-robed man took a few steps forward, leaving behind many afterimages. It was impossible to tell which one his true body was. When he arrived at the space filled with sword chi, the ink-robed man's sword chi attack didn't appear. You also specialize in formations? You're an expert from the Misty Dojo. Could it be that you also want to steal my treasure? Su Fong slowly appeared on the side. The ink-robed man said, "No, I'm not here to steal your treasure. I heard that in this month, thousands of Immortality Realm experts entered the formation you set up. In the end, not a single one managed to leave. And I specialize in the Tao of formations, so I wanted to see the power of this formation. I never expected that the rainbow soul-absorbing bell would really be in your hands." The rainbow soul-absorbing bell is indeed the core of this formation. With my heavenly fusion realm cultivation and the loss of my golden core, I could only use extreme methods to set up this formation to solve the problem. I heard that in the 100-year trial, there were quite a few experts who accidentally fell asleep in the formation. At that time, I wondered if it was the rainbow soul-absorbing bell. Then now that you know my foundation, you can seize the rainbow soul-absorbing bell next. Of course, I won't lie to myself. If I have the rainbow soul-absorbing bell, it will be of unimaginable help to my overall cultivation and strength. Is that so? Don't think that I'm just a heavenly fusion realm disciple. The man admitted it so openly that Su Fong felt it was a pity that this kind of person had to become his enemy. Yao Qinglu, want to see if you have the ability to defend this formation. The man reported his name and grabbed out a lot of sword chi. Layers of sword chi fused together in the surroundings. The moment he attacked, it was a sword formation, and Yao Qinglu seemed to have secretly done something to the surrounding formation, causing the central formation's shackles to not have much effect on him. Daluo, heavenly sword formation. In an instant, Su Fong retreated a little. Half of the space instantly turned into a sea of sword chi, and it was still fusing together. Amazing. You've cultivated the first layer of Daluo heavenly sword chi to such a proficient level, and even fused it with the entire formation. In this way, the power of this sword formation also has the strength of a peak Immortality Realm expert. You're indeed more difficult to deal with than the rumors say. Yao Qinglu became nervous when he saw the sea of sword chi. In less than 3 breaths, he sucked the surrounding sword chi formation into his palm. Forget it. I didn't expect my opponent to be such a terrifying person. Moreover, I'm only a 9th level Immortality Realm expert. It's not right for me to fight with you. Oh, that was strange. This person didn't want to fight. Su Fong also suppressed the sea of sword chi. This was a precaution against powerful enemies who could enter the center of the formation. It was also prepared for people like Yao Qinglu. Once it was used, it would awaken all the cultivators who were trapped in the illusion, causing them to wake up from the illusion. From now on, Feng Yu, your name will resound throughout the immortal heaven. All the disciples of the 7 great sects will know of you. Yao Qinglu leapt up. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about this formation. But once the formation is broken, everyone will know that you have the rainbow soul-sucking bell. I'm afraid even the undying realm experts will covet this treasure. With that, he fled into the depths of space. Yao Qinglu of the ethereal Tao sect is an interesting and smart person. He knows that if he fights with me in this formation, both of us will be injured. And I don't know if this person is friend or foe. If he's an enemy, then he'll be a terrifying opponent in the future. After waiting for a while, he felt that person fly out of the door and let out a sigh of relief. He returned to the rainbow, soul-sucking bell. With this lesson, he had to be more careful. And just as Yao Qinglu said, after a full 3 months, Su Fong's name had spread throughout the 7 great grotto heavens. From the heavenly fusion realm to the immortal realm, everyone knew of him. That was because Su Fong's formation was something that no one could break within 3 months. Over 1,000 experts had entered, but only Yao Qinglu had managed to escape. Clearly, everyone who had entered was trapped within the formation. A cultivator who had lost his golden core and was only at the heavenly fusion realm could do a miracle that even a 10th level immortal realm expert could not. It would be rare if his name did not shake the 7 great grotto heavens. Fan Yu, let's stop here. After a while, there was no longer a disciple who entered the formation. Su Fang, who was breaking through to the 6th level of heavenly fusion, was flashed into the formation by a shadow. It did not trigger the formation, nor did it bring hostility, because it was Yin Caifeng's divine sense. Master stood up to welcome him. Yin Caifeng said, "Everyone in the 7 great grotto heavens is talking about you. Enough is enough. Otherwise, the higher-ups will forcefully intervene in this matter. If that's the case, it will be very difficult for me, and it will also be difficult for you to escape. Disciple will remove the formation now." Hearing these words, Su Fang was not unhappy. Instead, he was very happy. This meant that he could finally enter Yin Caifeng's discerning eyes. "From now on, I will focus on nurturing you. I think more of the higher-ups in Frozen Moon Grotto Heaven will also agree with me." Yin Caifeng left these words, and his divine sense suddenly dispersed. Chapter 165. Focus on cultivation. Wasn't this what Su Fang got for everything he did? After confirming that Yin Caifeng's divine sense had dissipated, Su Fang relaxed a little, but there was still something in his heart that he couldn't get rid of. "That's what humans are like," King Green Feather said angrily. "If you're valuable, you're one of us. If you're not valuable, who cares about your life or death? Look at that Yao Qinglu who cultivated the formation. He looks like a relatively upright person, but he's actually an extremely hypocritical villain. He wanted to snatch the rainbow, soul-absorbing bell, but he was afraid of being taken advantage of. In the end, he left in embarrassment. If he was stronger, would he have given you a way out? This Yin Caifeng is the same. When your Jean Dan was shattered and you needed her protection, she didn't say a word for you. Now that she's seen you have the ability, she's showing up." After staring blankly for a while, Su Fang stared at the rainbow soul, assimilating bell, and could no longer calm down. "Senior, you're right. I've also seen through these so-called fellow disciples. It's undeniable that the Celestial Sealing Sect relied on its strength to become the Crimson Firmament Continent, but how many dirty things have they done in secret, such as murder and arson? Boy, for you to reach this step, you're more or less influenced by that little fox Dao Wuliang. If he hadn't been with you, you wouldn't have been able to come to the Celestial Sealing Sect. Look at your father. He still had to swallow his anger and be flexible. Only then could he seek revenge in his own way and finally destroy the state of Zhao. This king is a monster, a peerless big goblin who has lived for tens of thousands of years. He has long seen through the hypocrisy of humans. You live in this hypocritical world. If you blindly act righteously, you'll only end up ruining your life." Green Feather King's words were like a blow to the head. Ning Su Fang sucked in a breath of cold air for a long time. Green Feather King's words were reasonable. Su Fang sighed. "After experiencing so many things, I do have to change a little. I have to learn to go with the flow and the general trend. Only then can I protect myself better." Hearing this, Green Feather King didn't say anything more. After a few more days, he sucked the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell into his palm and flew out from the top of the formation. Under the gaze of tens of thousands of disciples, the enchantment at the center of the 7 injuries peak suddenly released layers of Xianguang. Su Fang flew out from above and shouted in the air, "Those who want to take my treasures are all trapped in this enchantment. Not only did they not get my treasures, but I also took their empty bags. If anyone still wants to take my treasures in the future, I won't be as merciful as today." Madman, he has the right to be arrogant. It turns out that he has the rainbow, soul-absorbing bell. It's a treasure that even the immortal giants want to obtain. With this treasure, not to mention the fact that the giants are protecting him, even if there are no giants, we, the immortal level disciples, have no hope at all. he stole more than 1,000 of the immortal-level disciples' empty bags. They came from the 7 grotto heavens. This time, he has completely offended the 7 grotto heavens. A large number of masters around the 7 Ingers peak stared at Su Fong, who was rising from the formation. The surroundings gradually became silent until Su Fong left the clouds. Let's go and take a look. Many people flew towards the enchantment. The enchantment that was left behind dispersed layer by layer. Then, under the gaze of many pairs of eyes, the men and women who were sleeping on the ground began to wake up one by one. The empty bags that they were wearing were indeed gone. Luckily, I endured it. Li Jingyang's heart skipped a beat when he saw what happened to the disciples. Obviously, like everyone else, he could see that Su Fong, who was originally the prey, had become a hunter in the end. Moreover, he had hunted thousands of empty bags in one go. Li Jingyang was so shocked that he turned around and left. He even subconsciously held onto his empty bag, afraid that the treasures would disappear into thin air. Frozen Moon, Grotto Heaven, he's back. He came back so openly. It seems like Song Changsheng was defeated again. Last time, he lost an arm to Fong Yu. This time, he lost an empty bag. Su Fong appeared in the sky above the Frozen Moon, Grotto Heaven. Many disciples from the floating pavilions and dojos were staring at Su Fong as he entered the dojos. These disciples who came from the same dojos but had never interacted with Su Fong before were already intimidated by Su Fong's strength and means. Immortal Cave. Not. After returning for a moment, he sealed the entrance of the cave. Anyone who came in would be sensed by him. The yang qi in his body suddenly went berserk. Again and again, he used the 100 acupoints finger art to control the shocking energy in his body, especially preparing to attack the second yang meridian. In the blink of an eye, a burst of energy formed 6 layers of qi. 6th level of Heaven Union Realm without a golden core. He had broken through from the 5th level of Heaven Union Realm to the 6th level in half a year. This speed was even more shocking than when he had a golden core. Could it be that void dust had condensed heaven, earth, profound, and yellow, transcending the heavenly Tao and reincarnation? Their cultivation speed was even more shocking than normal laws. This was a state where they were not shackled by laws. But thinking about it carefully, it was impossible for this to be the explanation. If it was true, those cultivators who had lost their golden cores should have realized this point. Moreover, the Crimson Firmament continent was filled with void dust. The Green Feather Monarch would not be ignorant of void dust. He continued to use the 100 acupoints finger art to control the promotion power. This time, the promotion did not follow the rules and attack the golden core according to laws. Everything was done with the golden core as the main focus. Instead, it was done with the yang meridian in Su Fong's body and the purple chi spirit in his right arm as the center. Under Su Fong's full control, the promotion power attacked the yang meridian, the magic treasure space in his right hand, and the divine aperture again and again. This time, he could attack the divine aperture at the same time. The second yang meridian, which was condensing, no longer felt solid inside. It was an illusory body. With each attack, it felt like the meridians had become funnels, as if they would be torn apart by the violent promotion power at any time. Fortunately, he had a perfect physical body. When he used the 100 acupoints finger art to control the promotion power to attack the whole body, only he could withstand it. If it were any other cultivator, their physical body would have been torn apart by the momentum. Several layers of impurities surged out of the placenta. At this time, it looked like a thick layer of black blood color particles piled up around Su Fong and emitted a foul smell. Inside the divine aperture, while activating the mystic Dharma ring, it assisted the condensation of magic power. After being attacked by the promotion power, the divine aperture was more like a sturdy conch. Although there was no golden core in his dantian, it had accumulated an astonishing amount of yang qi. The yang qi had some gold and silver luster. This was because he had fused with the mysterious yellow and absorbed the gold and silver qi himself. A natal magic treasure. Everything was for the sake of having a natal magic treasure as soon as possible. In fact, Su Fong had many choices. For example, he could cultivate his natal magic treasure later, because he would definitely obtain the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda's magic treasure in the future. That was the legendary Dao treasure. Or he could wait until he condensed the Chaos Essence Divine Realm into his natal magic treasure. Whoosh! Just as he was at an important juncture of his cultivation, he suddenly heard the sound of wind breaking. It flew from above the training hall. When Su Fong suppressed the momentum, an embarrassed voice came from outside. "Junior brother Fong, please return the empty bag to me. I have gone overboard this time." Immortal powerhouse. Hearing this, Su Fong stopped on the spot and did not leave the cave. He replied domineeringly, "Senior brother, it's a little late to say this. Think about it. If I don't have the ability to control the formation, you will take away all my treasures. You might even kill me to eliminate a threat like me. Even if you don't kill me, will you return the magic treasure to me when I ask you for it? Although I am a heaven fusion disciple, I also deeply understand the principle that kind people will be bullied and kind horses will be ridden. Senior brother, this time, just treat it as a lesson. Your treasures have long been surnamed Fong with me. You, the immortal realm expert outside, was from who knew which training hall he was from. He was probably so angry that he did not even look human. What goes around comes around. Fong Yu, I will not let you go. As long as I have the chance, I will definitely turn your bones into ashes to avenge today's humiliation. Haha, this is your true face. All right, I will wait for you to take my life. However, the next time you attack me, I will not just take your empty bag. I will also not care about our relationship as fellow disciples. Scram! Su Fong shouted furiously. Most likely, this angry roar could be heard by all the disciples in this training hall. Whoosh! That person left in a huff. This kind of person is fickle. Even if I return the empty bag to him, will he still treat me as a friend? This kind of person will never change. Instead, when he waits for an opportunity, he will become even worse. I, Su Fong, am not a fool. Do you think I will give you resources and let you deal with me in the future? At this time, Su Fong himself felt that his words just now were too overbearing. In fact, when he thought about it carefully, those were words from his heart. He had been bullied time and time again, and he had been schemed against time and time again. This time, he was determined and was forced to have no choice. And after a while, another immortal expert appeared. Junior Fong, please take into account that we are fellow disciples and return the empty bag to me. In the future, we can call each other brothers. Shitty brothers, forgive me for not seeing you off. Su Fong directly chased him away. Then, there were another dozen or so people who came to find Su Fong to take back their empty bags. Fortunately, this was the Frozen Moon Paradise. If it was any other place, they would have already killed their way in. Su Fong did not give these people any face. He rejected them one by one. In the end, he did not even open his mouth to reject them. However, after a few days, not a single person came to ask for their empty bags. Over 1,000 people had lost their empty bags. Roughly 23 people came to ask for their empty bags back. It should be because they saw Su Fong's attitude was so unyielding that the others did not come to hit a wall. At this moment, in the training hall, many disciples have been discussing this matter. Because in the history of the Celestial Sealing sect, there had never been an immortal realm expert who lowered his voice to a heavenly fusion realm expert to ask for their treasures back. Unknowingly, even the disciples of the Frozen Moon Training Hall felt that they were plated with a layer of gold. In front of the disciples of the 6 major training halls, their backs were even straighter. Of course, they also felt that Su Fong was too ruthless in this matter. He was a bit like an evil cultivator. No matter what, they did not dare to refute these immortal disciples in public. Even if they did not give them treasures, they had to give the other party a way out. But what about him? Like beating dogs, he beat the powerhouses of the various grotto heavens into a sorry state. Yin Kai Feng wants to see me. Another period of time passed. Su Fong had already entered the normal state of Heavenly Fusion Stage 6. His strength had improved greatly. His strength was comparable to a mortal realm level 5, and a divine sense broke through the air and called out outside the cave. It turned out to be Yin Caifeng's divine sense. He really wanted to nurture Su Fang. Yin Caifeng directly used divine sense to inform him. This was the treatment of an important disciple. Arriving in the sky above the training hall, he happened to meet dozens of disciples. Zheng Daoxin was the leader. It turned out that they had also just returned from their training. It was just that they looked a little down. It should be because the training this time did not go smoothly. Junior brother Fang, your name has shaken the 7 great grotto heavens this time. Zheng Daoxin explained and let the other disciples disperse. He flew with Su Fang to the Qingshan training hall above. Presumably, Zheng Daoxin had just returned and learned about the incident at Seven Wounds Peak. Whether it was his tone or his expression in front of Su Fang, it was obviously very different from a few months ago. It seems that in our training hall, you're the most promising one to enter the ranking list of young masters in this 100 years. Chapter 166. Su Fang said modestly, Senior brother, you must be joking. I'm only at the Heavenly Union realm. How could I enter the ranking list of young masters in 100 years? Moreover, everyone on the ranking list of young masters is a proud son of heaven. You might not know this, but the mortal ranking changes every 100 years. During the last 100 years, our Heavenly Grotto Heaven's senior sister Qian Huanyun was the only one who managed to enter the mortal ranking. She was the only genius who managed to occupy the mortal ranking. But after this 100 years, she broke through to the undying realm and entered the high immortal heaven. Most of the geniuses on the mortal ranking before her managed to seize the opportunity to break through during this period of time, becoming undying overlords. But the mortal ranking is now empty. This is the best time for all the disciples of the 7 Heavenly Grotto Heavens to compete for the top spot. Once you enter the mortal ranking, even if you enter the high immortal heaven, you'll still be a key disciple. Su Fang was also curious, but the reason for his curiosity was only because of one person, Zhao Wuji. According to Senior Brother, the 7 Grotto Heavens Longevity Realm Senior Brothers are all preparing to enter the ranking list of young masters. That's right. Who doesn't want to seize the opportunity to taste the first mouthful of soup? Zheng Daoxin slowed down again and frowned. Junior Martial Brother, I have a presumptuous request. This time, Senior Martial Brother has a very good friend. Unfortunately, Junior Martial Brother also took away his empty bag. He asked me to pass a message to Junior Martial Brother, saying that you will remember Junior Martial Brother's righteousness in the future. It turned out that Zheng Daoxin and Su Fang had a reason for talking so much. It was to ask Su Fang for his empty bag for someone else. Su Fang didn't feel awkward because he had to give Zheng Daoxin face. His position in this training hall was second only to Yin Caifeng, and he was Yin Caifeng's messenger. If he didn't get along well with Zheng Daoxin, it was tantamount to making the biggest enemy. Su Fang asked about the general situation and found an empty bag to give to Zheng Daoxin. Zheng Daoxin was elated when he received the empty bag. However, Su Fang still had something to say. He said awkwardly, Senior brother, I don't have to say much. There are too many people who want to deal with me. I can't let all of them go. That way, I'll still encounter all kinds of trouble. I'll remember this favor. Zheng Daoxin was also a smart person. She could tell what Su Fang really wanted to say, but didn't say it out loud. As the two of them arrived at the Green Mountain Dojo, a marvelous door opened naturally. After entering the Door of Wonders, they arrived at a large hall. Yin Caifeng was seated at the front. Zheng Daoxin saluted and said, My lord, during this trip to the Polo Forest, a few more disciples died. Not only did we fail to kill the devil, but we also encountered even more big goblin. At the very least, we managed to retrieve many of the items left behind by our fallen junior brothers. With that, he handed several empty bags to Yin Caifeng. Demonic Dao monsters suddenly appeared in the Polo Forest. This is truly unexpected. It seems like they need to send out even more elites to suppress the demons. I have also received news from other dojos that their disciples have also encountered demons. Demons rarely appear in the Crimson Firmament continent. Previously, there were many big goblin. Yin Kaifeng pondered for a moment and looked at Zheng Daoxin again. Get Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan to come and see me immediately. Also, find a few experts whose cultivation has reached longevity stage 9 and have them be on standby at all times. Yes. Zheng Daoxin accepted the order and left. Fang Yu, the reason I asked you to come this time is because of the Polo Forest. The Polo Forest is very close to our sect and is a natural stronghold. Most of the people who go there to train are our sect's disciples. There are also some experts from other sections. Last time, the upheaval of the world affected our sect greatly. Quite a few sealed greater demons have escaped. Every Dao, right, has captured these greater demons as training and missions. In the empty hall, Yin Kaifeng stared at Su Fang calmly and said, "Who would have thought that in the last trial, all the dojos would encounter demons, and it just so happened that our dojos had a direct confrontation with the demons. We lost more than 20 disciples, some of whom were about to advance to the undead realm. You have joined the dojos for some time now, so I plan to accompany you to the Polo Forest and join forces with Yuan Luodong, Qin Yuan, and the others to deal with the demons. Because you have the 7-colored soul-absorbing bell, cooperating with them to set up a formation is the best way to suppress the demons. This way, we can avoid a direct confrontation with the demons, but I have to ask for your opinion. After all, your condition is special." After a short moment, Su Fang bowed. This disciple is willing to carry out this mission. Yin Kaifeng then called out to the outside of the hall. Yuan Luodong, Qin Yuan, come in. Whoosh whoosh. 2 men in white appeared in a flash. Su Fang did not see them, but judging from their aura, their cultivation had reached the 10th level of the immortality realm. They must be the most outstanding people in this dojo and were about to advance to the undying realm. Looking at the two sides, he saw that Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan both had dignified appearances and unfathomable strength. They were dragons among men in all aspects. Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan were also sizing up Su Fang. They did not look at him with a condescending gaze, but with a hint of politeness. It seemed that they also knew that Su Fang had done some shocking things recently. The three of them only stared at each other for a short while, which could be considered as a greeting. Yin Kaifeng said, "This is Fang Yu. You should know him. I sent you here for the Poluo Forest. Yuan Luodong, Qin Yuan, the two of you are the elites that I have nurtured. When you were in seclusion to break through to the undying realm, I had no choice but to send you out to carry out this mission. You are the only candidates. Not everyone can deal with a demon. Now that you have returned from carrying out this mission, regardless of whether you succeed or not, just focus on your seclusion in the future. Sir, we will complete the mission." Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan bowed. Yin Kaifeng reminded them, Fang Yu's advantage is formations. He has a high-grade artifact, the Rainbow Soul-Absorbing Bell. This is no longer a secret. The two of you can use the advantage of formations to suppress the demon and contend against the experts of other sections. The Poluo Forest is not a product of our sect, so it will be very dangerous. Rumor has it that the Poluo Forest was originally the dojo of a demon a long time ago. Later, he was killed by the experts of our sect, so it will not be easy to deal with a demon. The three of them immediately turned and left. When they flew out of Green Mountain's dojo, Zheng Daoxin had already brought 5 longevity stage 9 experts with her and was waiting for the 3 of them in midair. Other than Fang Yu, the others present were all longevity stage experts, and they were all very familiar with each other. However, Su Fang was not familiar with them, but these experts knew Su Fang very well. A person who had forcibly emptied the pockets of over 1,000 longevity stage experts. Even if they were not familiar with him, they still had to know him. The 7 of them immediately left for the Poluo Forest. After leaving the Immortal Sealing Sect's dojo, everyone was centered around Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan, because these two could be considered half-step undying experts. They already had 1 foot in the undying stage, and their strength was 10 times stronger than longevity stage 9 experts. Didn't they say that Fanyu had lost his golden core? How could he control the cold frost sword for such a long time and maintain the same speed as us? Who knows? But this person is too mysterious. It's best not to look at him with ordinary eyes. Along the way, some people were quietly discussing Su Fong. They thought that no one could hear them, but Su Fong heard them clearly. The immortal sealing sect was said to be big, and it was indeed very big. There were 7 heavenly caves, and each heavenly cave had several dojos. Once the wind blew and grass blew, others would know. It seemed that most of the longevity stage experts had a certain understanding of Su Fong's situation. In just 4 to 5 days, the 7 of them had already left the immortal sealing sect's territory and were getting closer and closer to the Paluo forest. Seeing that they were getting closer and closer to the Paluo forest, a journey of a few days was actually very far for cultivators. Su Fong secretly communicated with Green Feather King. "Senior, do you know about the Paluo forest? I didn't know about it 10,000 years ago, but after being suppressed by the immortal sealing sect for 10,000 years, I had to know even if I didn't want to." The higher-ups of the immortal sealing sect often discussed some secret matters, and they never avoided this king. They thought that this king would be suppressed in the immortal sealing sect for the rest of his life, until they found the fragments of other people's Huang Ming wheel. Green Feather King snorted disdainfully. The Paluo forest has existed for a long time, almost at the same time as the immortal sealing sect. At that time, the Crimson Firmament continent had various small Devil Dao factions, and the Paluo forest was one of them. It was the dojos of an expert called the Paluo True Devil. I heard that the Devil Dao also had a detailed division of status, and the True Devil was already a big shot among the Devil Dao factions. Back then, the peerless experts of the immortal sealing sect wanted to clean up the surrounding factions, so they naturally had to attack the Paluo True Devil. They dispatched several experts to fight the Paluo True Devil. They killed many disciples of the Devil Dao and also killed the Paluo True Devil. However, the Paluo True Devil's corpse was sealed by the 10,000 gods of the immortal sealing sect. It was sealed in the depths of the Paluo forest, and there was also a peerless artifact that acted as a suppressing artifact. For the past 10,000 years, the immortal sealing sect has always wanted to take back that artifact, and also get rid of the Devil Dao forces left behind by the Paluo True Devil. However, the Devil Dao forces aren't easy to deal with, especially the blood of the True Devil. Now that you think about it, the devil that appeared in the Paluo forest hasn't attracted the attention of the immortal sealing sect. After all, only the true higher-ups of the immortal sealing sect know about the existence of the Paluo True Devil. Little Yin Kaifeng doesn't have the qualifications to know about it. So the Paluo forest is an extremely dangerous place. Who knows if the Devil Dao forces there have awakened during the last upheaval. You have to be careful. Your Xianwang Six Paths Pagoda also has the ability to suppress the devil. Even so, you have to be extra careful. Green Feather King warned. The Paluo True Devil. The blood of the True Devil. The immortal sealing sect's treasure used to seal the corpse of the True Devil. Those were the main points that attracted Su Fong's attention. Thinking about it carefully, Green Feather King's analysis was correct. The Paluo forest really wasn't simple. After slowing down, Yuan Luodong turned around and looked at the others. The large forest in front of us that is filled with black fiendish qi is the Polo forest. Our dojo has suffered losses during the last 2 expeditions, so I don't want anyone to die here again. Qin Yuan also said, "There's no need to rush. Let's rest around the Paluo forest for a while and get used to the forest's special aura. Then we'll go into search for the devil." Since these 2 experts had already made up their minds, the others didn't say anything. They followed the 2 of them into the Paluo forest. Although it was called a forest, it was actually a forest surrounded by mountains. This place was like the dark forest. There were some gloomy clouds above the forest, but compared to the dark forest, this place was only gray. The dark forest was perpetually dark. It was even stranger than the Paluo forest. They landed on a mountain outside the forest. Once they entered, they found that the spiritual chi here was very different. There was a stifling feeling that made it hard to breathe. It was also repelling the spiritual chi in their bodies. So the aura here had been invisibly devoured by the Paluo, true devil, Tao writes, devilish chi over the course of 10,000 years. In the end, it had formed a special aura that suppressed humans. Even Yuan Luo Dong and Qin Yuan were unable to absorb the aura here. But Su Fong was pleasantly surprised to find that he could absorb the 9 yang true qi. Once it entered his body, it merged with his yang qi and transformed into spiritual qi. Chapter 167. Yang qi that was the foundation of life, the essence of life. Even if Polo Forest spiritual qi was tainted by devilish qi, it was still energy. It was still energy that life needed. It could naturally be merged with yang qi. Furthermore, the 9 yang true qi was the most domineering existence amongst yang qi. It could devour any kind of aura. While others were being careful, Su Fong was secretly absorbing the Polo Forest energy that had been fermenting for 10,000 years. Now that he had reached the 6th level of heavenly fusion, his strength was constantly advancing. As for the grand heavenly sword chi and the myriad god seal, Su Fong was also cultivating them at the same time. That was because the myriad god seal required him to grasp a bit of it. Fortunately, the 7 great divine abilities had all formed seeds within Greenfeather King's body. As long as Su Fong absorbed a few of those seeds, he would be able to cultivate the myriad god seal more easily than anyone else. 2 days later, Yuan Luodong gathered everyone. Qin Yuan walked over, covered in dust. Everyone, just now when I went to scout, I discovered some experts that aren't from our sect. They're currently searching for spiritual items in the forest. Everyone, be careful. Just now, we encountered 2 more corpses. Just look at those corpses and you'll know how terrifying this devil's methods are. Qin Yuan waved his hand and pulled out a seal from a bag. There were 2 black and bloody corpses inside. Upon closer inspection, their faces had already rotted away, revealing their white bones. Their skin was also rotting away. Some black qi had seeped out of their skin. That should be the devilish qi that suppressed righteous spiritual qi. The 2 corpses had died miserable deaths. They had practically died from blood loss. Even Yuan Luodong's expression changed. He ordered Qin Yuan to put away the corpses. The 7 of us came this time to target this devil. The other heavenly grottos don't care about this devil, but once our heavenly grottos suppress it and bring it back to the sect, it'll be a huge merit. Each of us will obtain a shocking amount of merit. Devils aren't easy to deal with. We've thought about it on the way and have 2 plans. The first is for everyone to surround and kill the devil. The second is for junior apprentice brother Fong Yu to take the lead and set up a formation trap ahead of time to lure the devil into the formation and suppress it. We don't know how powerful the demon is. Let's go with the first plan and see how powerful the demon is, Qin Yuan agreed. After the 7 of them finished their discussion, they split into 2 groups. Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan would lead the others and move separately. However, they did not move too far apart as they were worried that they would not be able to provide support if they encountered a devil. Su Fong followed Qin Yuan and the 2 immortal experts into the Polo Forest from the right. When they arrived at the forest, they discovered that some animals were abnormally evil. They seemed to have been infected by the demonic qi and would take the initiative to attack humans. Half an incense stick later, the 4 of them surrounded a corpse. To be precise, it was the corpse of a demon. The demon's entire body was rotten, and there was a bloody hole in its lower abdomen. It was obvious that its golden core had been stolen. Coupled with the demonic poison all over its body, it was definitely the work of a devil. It could even kill a big goblin that had formed a golden core. The demon's ability was at least on a mortal level. Previously, they had seen the corpses of 2 cultivators. Now, there was the corpse of a demon in front of them. For the 4 of them, it was a great shock. Who wouldn't tremble at the sight of that demon? Qin Yuan was constantly in contact with Yuan Luodong. As the 4 of them went deeper into the forest, They felt that the whirling forest was in the shape of a valley. The deeper they went, the deeper they could not see the bottom. Deep in the forest, there was a dense black fog. The few of them found a collapsed horizontal stone. These are the ruins of buildings. Could it be that there was a faction in the Polo Forest in the past? I don't know about this. No one could explain it clearly. However, Su Fong knew that since the Polo True Devil had occupied this place in the past, it must be the ruins left behind by the True Devil. Buzz! The token on Qin Yuan's waist suddenly moved. Qin Yuan looked to the left and was extremely nervous. Senior brother Yuan is being attacked by demons. There are also 4 foreign experts ambushing them at the same time. Let's go and reinforce them. Swish! Swish! The 4 of them did not hesitate. Under Qin Yuan's lead, they quickly flew over the forest. Half an incense stick later, there was a thunder-like commotion in the forest in front of them. When the 4 of them arrived at the top of the forest, they saw 2 big goblin snakes. They were more than 30 meters long and were spurting out green demonic chi. It seemed like they were poisonous and were attacking an array formation. The aura of the array formation was the aura of the Celestial Sealing Sect. It should have been created by the Celestial Sealing Sect's experts. Fong Yu, you are the weakest among us. You have to be careful. The 3 of us will deal with the 2 big goblin snakes first. Qin Yuan said to Su Fong solemnly. With the other 2 experts, they released their cold frost swords. Waves of sword light appeared in the sky. They appeared 100 meters away and attacked the 2 big goblin snakes. Su Fong slowly approached. He had to get a clear picture of the situation first. He noticed that there were sounds of fighting in the array formation. The 2 big goblin snakes had already changed their targets. Qin Yuan and the other 2 were using their cold frost swords to fight from a distance. It seemed like the Celestial Sealing Sect's experts were slowly turning the situation around. Green Feather King said, "Those 2 big goblin snakes are even stronger than the little fox. They have condensed their golden cores for quite some time. You can hide behind them and wait for the 2 big goblin snakes to retreat. You can suppress them halfway. These 2 big goblin snakes are suitable to be small commanders. If they are not obedient, this king will refine them." This was what Su Fong was thinking. The main reason he had come to the Polo Forest was to suppress the big goblin. He knew that Qin Yuan and Yuan Luodong didn't expect him to be of any help. So he stealthily went behind the 2 big goblin snakes. If the 2 big goblin snakes fled, they would definitely come back. At this time, the array formation suddenly exploded, and a layer of bloody mist rose. Yuan Luodong and the other 2 experts surrounded the 2 struggling big goblin cultivators. Their divine abilities exploded, and with the 3 of them working together, the 2 of them were trapped. It seemed they wouldn't have long to live. Swish! The 2 big goblin snakes were actually crafty. As soon as they saw the Immortal Sealing Sect's experts charge out of the array formation, they knew they were outnumbered. As expected, they fled. Before they fled, they spat out a huge amount of green mist that covered the entire forest, making it impossible for Qin Yuan and the others to chase after them. In truth, they wouldn't easily chase after the big goblin in this kind of situation. After all, their target was the devil. Several miles away, the 2 big goblin snakes were practically flying over. The big goblin's body was so huge that the surrounding trees were cut in half. Whoosh! Just as they passed through the forest, the image of a pagoda appeared right in front of the 2 big goblin snakes. It suddenly appeared in the air, and with a rumble, the 2 big goblin snakes were suppressed until they were only 3 meters long. Furthermore, their big goblin forms were constantly changing. Come! Su Fong pushed back, and the 2 big goblins were easily suppressed by the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. A King Gray Dharma treasure was the strongest treasure in a minor world. Suppressing the 2 big goblin snakes wasn't difficult at all. That was unless they encountered an old antique like the Green Feather King. He burrowed back into the forest and returned to his previous position. Looking around, he didn't see the 2 enormous snakes attacking him. The 6 experts from the House of Immortal Sealing had already killed the last remaining cultivator. Ignoring Su Fong, They began to distribute the treasures among the remaining cultivators. They thought that Su Fong didn't know. Who would have thought that Su Fong was using his great circle power to hear their every move? The Green Feather King suddenly smiled. I was right. The devils that appeared here are here to take the Polo True Devil's corpse. He had suppressed the two big goblins and taken them in as junior commanders. Now, he was trying to get information from the two big goblins. He hadn't expected the two big goblins to know so much about the Polo Forest. Not only are there devils from the Devil Sealing sect, but there are also experts from the Ziwei Star sect. However, they aren't here for the true Devil's corpse. Instead, they're here for the peak-high gray Dharma treasure left behind by the Immortal Sealing sect. The Green Feather King continued to tell Su Fong the information he had obtained. This Dharma treasure is called the Green Fiend True Talisman. Su Fong narrowed his eyes. Is the Green Fiend True Talisman related to the Green Fiend True Flame? Your brain really works fast. The Green Fiend True Talisman is indeed related to the Green Fiend True Flame. It already existed before this king was sealed in the Immortal Sealing sect. This king has always heard of this treasure, but he didn't know where it was. So the Immortal Sealing sect had long ago used the Green Fiend True Talisman to seal the Polo True Devil's corpse. The Green Fiend True Talisman is a treasure refined by the Immortal Sealing sect's experts. It's one of the few high-quality treasures the Immortal Sealing sect refined. Because of how powerful the Green Fiend True Flame is, it's best to use it as a seal. This king has some runes sealed inside his body that are replicas of the Green Fiend True Talisman. They're just as powerful. Kid, if you can obtain the Green Fiend True Talisman and use it with the Fire Cloud Spirit Gourd, you'll be able to control the Green Fiend True Flame even more freely. The Ziwei Star sect is the sworn enemy of the Immortal Sealing sect. Although the two of them seem to be allies on the surface, they're both secretly trying to steal each other's peerless divine abilities. This king guesses that the Ziwei Star sect's disciples are here to steal the Green Fiend True Talisman and bring it back to the Ziwei Star sect to study the secret of the Green Fiend True Flame. The Ziwei Star sect. It was a peak power on the Crimson Firmament continent that was on the same level as the Immortal Sealing sect. As for the Ziwei Star sect, it had been established even earlier than the Immortal Sealing sect. It was just that the Immortal Sealing sect had caught up later and grown into its current state. If Green Feather King hadn't revealed these secrets, Su Fong wouldn't have known that these large powers were secretly trying to steal each other's divine abilities. Swoosh! Yuan Luo Dong, Qin Yuan, and the other experts flew over, looking exhausted. After resting for a while, the seven of them once more ventured deeper. They had obtained some information about the devil from the cultivators they had killed before. They could roughly guess where the devil would frequently appear. They quickly entered a strange mountain range. This mountain range had been completely hollowed out, and it was too sinister. It looked like the petrified corpses of monsters that had died. They hid in the shadows and stared at the mountain range. Yuan Luodong said, "Let's split up and search. Don't go too far. The devil is most likely somewhere in this mountain range." After everyone agreed, they went in different directions. Su Fong also chose a direction and went further and further away. It wasn't until they entered the mountain range that they realized this place had once been the Brahma True Devil's Dowrite. Many of the spaces here had been artificially carved out over many years. The smell of blood. Not only was Su Fong's vision and hearing shocking, but his sense of smell was also shocking. As he passed through the cliffs and caves, he smelled blood. He carefully passed through some vines, as well as some strange moss and tree roots. Eventually, he saw a relatively hidden cave. There were some bloodstains in the cave, and there was even a corpse lying inside. After confirming it was a corpse, Su Fong entered the cave. He didn't find anything strange in the cave. Only then did he carefully examine the corpse. He saw that the corpse was wearing a silver robe. The inner layer of the robe was embedded with some stars. Ziwei Star sect. This was a disciple of the Ziwei Star sect. Although he was covered by the robe and didn't have a command medallion, this corpse was definitely an expert from the Ziwei Star sect. Unfortunately, The Z-Way star sect's lower abdomen had also been hollowed out. And strangely, there wasn't much blood left. He was like a withered corpse. There were also some black runes that hadn't disappeared from his temples. Chapter 168. How strange. Su Fong found that there was something off about the corpse. He couldn't put his finger on it, but it gave him a familiar feeling. This is a puppet, a corpse puppet. It's also called a skin puppet. It's similar to the corpse demon puppets you saw in the profound cave trial. Greenfeather King explained, this corpse has a devil path imprint on it. It seems it was killed by a devil path expert and then refined into a puppet. Unfortunately, for some reason, the imprint disappeared and the corpse was left here. You should leave. This is very likely the territory of a devil. After hearing Greenfeather King's explanation, Su Fong hastily flew out of the cave. Swish, swish, swish. The air around the cave was gloomy. As Su Fong flew out, 3 silver-robed masked men suddenly jumped out, blocking Su Fong's path. You dare kill our people? You're a disciple of the Celestial Sealing Sect. One of them shouted angrily. Su Fong retreated a few steps and stared at the 3 of them. He immediately focused on the one in the middle who had spoken. Among the Z-Way Star Sect's experts, one of them is actually an undying expert. Senior apprentice brother, why waste words with this brat? The masked man on the right wanted to immediately attack. I wasn't the one who killed your people. I'm only at the Heavenly Union realm. How could I kill a longevity expert? Su Fong calmly faced the 3 experts. They were existences he couldn't handle. I also just arrived here and saw this corpse. He was killed by a devil and refined into a corpse puppet. If you don't believe me, you can go check it out. He knew he could only explain the corpse. He couldn't reveal their identities. Otherwise, if the 3 of them realized he knew about the Z-Way Star Sect, they would definitely kill him to silence him. Another person reminded, this person's words are reasonable. Senior apprentice brother, since he's no longer here, we still have matters to attend to. No, the undying expert's gaze was cold. We can't leave anyone alive. During this time, we used our identities as devils to kill quite a few of the Celestial Sealing Sect's disciples. They'll find out sooner or later. Could it be that some of the disciples who died here weren't killed by devils? The undying expert's words startled Su Fong. You want to kill my Celestial Sealing Sect's people? At this moment, Su Fong suddenly retreated. The 3 experts from the Z-Way Star Sect also rushed over. 6 figures flew out from the surroundings. They were none other than Yuan Luodong, Qin Yuan, and the others. The 3 great experts of the Z-Way Star Sect didn't dare to fight against so many experts of the Celestial Sealing Sect. They didn't know how many people the Celestial Sealing Sect had. Undying experts. A few people gathered around and asked a few questions. They were also suspicious of the identities of those people. As soon as they entered the cave, they didn't need to ask to know the identity of the corpses. They also guessed that the 3 corpses were experts from the Z-Way Star Sect. Qin Yuan said, just now we met the disciples of Qing Chang Cave who had just entered the forest for training. There were many of them, and many of them were masters. However, we have to kill the devil first. Judging from the situation, the devil must be around here. If we search carefully, we will definitely find it. Let's split up. If there's any movement, let me know. Yuan Luodong was focused on completing his mission, who didn't want to advance to the Undying Realm. With the cave as the center of gravity, the 7 of them continued their search in all directions. Interesting. The Z-Way Star Sect and the Celestial Sealing Sect are fighting each other. I heard that the Celestial Sealing Sect's experts once left behind a sealing treasure. Last time, the Crimson Firmament Continent's big goblin and devils reappeared. The Celestial Sealing Sect's 10,000-year-old seal was most likely affected. A skinny old man walked over from the side. His cultivation base was so shocking that Yuan Luodong, Qin Yuan, and the Z-Way Star Sect's undying experts didn't notice him. The old man's black robes were very ordinary. They were even a bit tattered and white. His goatee gave him an unfathomable aura. He stroked his goatee. According to reason, the celestial sealing sect's higher-ups should have made preparations for the Polo Forest. They wouldn't let anyone casually take away the sealing treasure. But if I can't take the sealing treasure, I can take the sealed devil's corpse to the Supreme God sect and sell it for a high price. At the very least, it'll be worth hundreds of thousands of pure yuan pills. But if I know the secret of the Polo Forest, do other people know it as well? The old man narrowed his eyes. Although he didn't say anything, his gaze was sharp. He was definitely a shrewd and powerful figure. If we follow the Ziwei Star sect and the Celestial Sealing Sect's disciples, we'll definitely find the entrance to the 10,000-year-old seal. It seems even the Celestial Sealing Sect disciples don't know the secret of this place. They're chasing that mysterious devil path expert. Adding on the devil chi coming from several places, we should have a harvest. The old man immediately formed a hand seal. A moment later, just as the goateed elder had expected, the Celestial Sealing Sect's experts truly did find a damp forest filled with devil chi. When Su Fong received the news, he quickly rushed over. He saw Yuan Luodong, Qin Yuan, and the other 5 experts hiding in the air, staring at the depths of the damp forest in front of them. There was obviously a hidden cold aura that was faintly seeping in from the depths of the forest. There are quite a few troublesome, flying venomous spiders that seem to have been affected by the devil chi. They've lost their ability to control themselves and have entered a devilized state. They're currently searching for life as food. The 7 of them gathered together. Yuan Luodong introduced, "Master, from the other disciples who came here to temper themselves, we learned that the flying venomous spiders have condensed a gold core. Furthermore, their poison chi is extremely powerful. Perhaps the devil is cultivating here. If we join hands and use the Daluo Heavenly Sword chi, we'll be able to use it in an offensive formation. Even the flying venomous spiders will be able to handle it." Each of them had cultivated the Daluo Heavenly Sword chi at some point. Some were proficient in it, while others had only used it to assist them in their cultivation. But they could all unleash shocking sword light. If there are a lot of flying venomous spiders that have condensed a gold core, we can absorb them into the profound yellow space. Su Fong followed the 6 of them into the damp and sinister forest. From the treetops and between the trees, they could see quite a few spider webs. They were all dozens of feet wide, or over 30 feet wide. Almost every spider web had bones hanging on it. There were animal bones and human bones. Creak, creak. No matter how careful the 7 of them were, the hidden flying venomous spiders were still awakened. The flying venomous spiders were demons that were close to the big goblin. Perhaps they had a special ability to sense humans. The 7 of them stood back to back as they floated in the air. At this moment, the sea of leaves in the forest was wantonly swaying. There were black gold spiders that were the size of winter melons. The spiders had wings. At first glance, they looked like large dragonflies. But in the end, they were actually venomous, flying venomous spiders. Not only did the flying venomous spiders have wings, but they also had a layer of red markings that resembled fish scales. Occasionally, they would release some bubbles. When the venomous spiders spread their bodies, they were nearly 6 feet long. Some of them were about the size of an adult. The 7 of them immediately released a sword formation. A circle of sword chi cut through space. Qin Yuan said, "The flying venomous spider's demonic eyes don't seem to be demonic chi. It's too cold, so the devil chi here must be extremely strong. Everyone, do your best to kill the flying venomous spiders and bring their corpses back to the sect. That's also a merit. Demonic corpses are extremely useful to the sect. They can be refined into puppets, pills, and even magic treasures. Attacking the abdomen of the flying venomous spiders is the most dangerous. When the sword chi cuts through them, the venom within their bodies will explode. If you touch it, you'll immediately be poisoned. We'll attack from a distance." Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan stood back to back, becoming the backbone of the 7. Buzz buzz. Without waiting for the flying venomous spiders to attack, Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan repeatedly released sword chi. The other 5 also changed their hand seals. One of the immortal sealing sect's 7 great divine abilities, the Grand Firmament Sword Chi, was displaying its power. With the 7 of them at the center, the air in the forest suddenly twisted. Within the twisting fluctuations were waves of sword chi. They were so dense that there was nowhere for the surrounding matter to hide. Suddenly, the flying venomous spiders sensed the threat and spat out black venom. Wheezing, several dozen strands of venom were like living worms. They were as fast as lightning, wriggling in a numbing manner as they attacked the waves of sword chi. When they collided with the sword chi's spatial layer, the two energies clashed. The venom strands were truly tough. They looked like soft strands, but when they collided with the sword chi's layer of sword chi, they were immediately cut apart. Attack the venomous spiders. The Grand Firmament Sword Chi was truly extraordinary. As they continued to advance, they could clearly see the flying venomous spiders. There were roughly 34 of them. Qin Yuan and Yuan Luodong once again changed their hand seals. Swish! Suddenly, a 30-meter-long sword chi appeared in front of the sword chi layer. It was a huge silver sword that seemed almost solid. The 7 experts shouted at the same time, "Kill! Kill!" The silver sword chi swept out with an imposing momentum. It was almost impossible to see a sword scar. Creak! The sword chi swept out. A 30-meter-long sword scar was left in the air. Several of the flying venomous spiders were cut in two. Large amounts of venomous blood and intestines flowed out. Careful! It's a venomous web. Someone bellowed. The rest did not even have time to rejoice. They all stared at a venomous web that was more than 100 meters wide. It was formed by the venomous web spewed out by the majority of the flying venomous spiders. It was like a wall that pressed down on the 7 of them. Another even more astonishing silver sword stabbed out from below. With a bang, it struck the venomous web. The entire forest trembled. Following that, the gigantic sword forcefully sliced apart the spider web, sending large amounts of venomous web flying. Swoosh! Another gigantic sword slashed through the air under the 7's continuous control. This time, more than a dozen flying venomous spiders were slain by the sword. As for the 7, they were sweating profusely. Even with the advantage of the array formation, fighting so many demons in a row still drained them greatly. Thankfully, they managed to scare the flying venomous spiders away. The group took the opportunity to give chase. Yuan Luodong stored the venomous spiders' corpses into an empty bag. What a sinister pit filled with demonic aura. After killing their way several kilometers deep, the 7 of them floated in front of a pitch-black pit that looked like a kiln. It was emitting dense black smoke. This pit should have been naturally formed. Some black beetles would occasionally crawl into it, but they couldn't see what was inside. Furthermore, there were several smaller pits around it that were also bottomless. The 7 of them didn't hesitate. They all wanted to complete this mission. Furthermore, there were other experts from the immortal sealing sect training here. They weren't worried about whether or not there really was a devil inside. Swoosh! They flew into the largest pit. When they encountered the moist black yin chi, they all shivered. They felt like this chi was about to block their meridians and freeze their hearts, making it impossible for them to breathe. They also couldn't circulate their spiritual energy freely. They could only use their defenses to prevent the cold chi from entering their bodies. After a while, they reached an unknown depth. Suddenly, an ancient passageway appeared. It was a spatial passageway formed by a formation. This should be the ancient sealing formation used to seal the Pura true devil, warned Greenfeather King. Su Fong carefully looked around. There should be more than one sealed spatial passageway. There were some barriers that extended deep into the ground. He could clearly see some yin chi disappearing through the barriers. Chapter 169. Greenfeather King said, "The stronger a person is, the more powerful their sealing arts are. It seems Polo True Devil's abilities aren't small. The immortal sealing sect sealed his corpse here and used the earth chi to devour his devil chi. In the end, the corpse lost its devil nature and turned to dust. But now, Polo True Devil's corpse is still sealed. Who would have thought that after 10,000 years, the seal would still be there? That means the Green Fiend True Talisman really is a good thing. They were surrounded by a bottomless sealing aura. It wasn't just Su Fong who was panicking. The other immortal realms all felt the same way. They carefully went deeper and deeper, gradually entering the sealing formation. The devil chi was so strong that the 7 of them couldn't breathe normally. They could only rely on their internal breathing. Green Feather Monarch reminded again. The 2 snake demon commanders told me that there were a few great demons that accidentally entered this kind of sealed devil chi space. In the end, none of them returned. The sealed space must have a way to prevent outsiders or devils from seizing the corpses. The big goblin had died here. The 10,000 God Seal was one of the 7 great divine abilities of the immortal sealing sect. It's the chi of our sect seal of 10,000 deities. We've officially entered this ancient seal. Looking at the level of the chi, it shouldn't be the devil we're looking for. However, it's highly likely that he's here. We still don't know what kind of devil is sealed here, but from the seal of 10,000 deities, it's not difficult to tell that the devil below must be at least at the immortality realm or even the undying realm. With the 10,000 God Seal, what do we have to fear? Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan were both close to the undying realm. They quickly confirmed that this was the 10,000 God Seal from the immortal sealing sect. The 10,000 God Seal was a supreme divine ability that surpassed the Daluo Heavenly Sword Chi. Ordinary disciples couldn't control it. Only undying and indestructible disciples could cultivate it. "There are corpses," shouted Yuan Luodong from within the formation. There were a dozen corpses in front of them, but there was a problem. They slowly approached. When they got closer, they realized that these corpses had been dead for a while, but not very long. There were beetles crawling on their bodies and mouths. Squeak! The beetle seems to have sensed the presence of a human. They began to emit strange cries. The 7 of them wanted to kill these beetles and investigate the source of their corpses, but they didn't expect that from the depths of the array formation behind them, countless squeaking noises would surge out, not giving the 7 people time to react. The creaking sound became louder and louder. It turned out that it was a black shadow that swept over with an earth-shattering momentum. The Black Shadow Wave was none other than a beetle army formed by countless beetles. They were running towards each other greedily. The beetles on the corpses also flew into the army, leaving behind corpses that had been corroded by demonic chi. Get into formation! This scene was truly frightening. The 2 experts immediately released their Daluo Heavenly Sword Chi. The other 5 also released their Sword Chi. Layer after layer of Sword Chi slashed towards the beetle army. The Sword Chi sliced through the beetle army with incomparable sharpness. However, what was unexpected was that the beetles' reactions were too shocking. Their bodies were abnormally tough, even tougher than the flying venomous spiders. When they were struck by the Sword Chi, they were either sent flying or shattered. The beetles even dodged the Sword Chi and then spat out icy demonic chi to suppress the Sword Chi. Not good. These little beetles are even stronger than the flying venomous spiders outside. Retreat. After fighting for a while, they realized that suppressing the beetles wasn't going to be as easy as they had imagined. Retreat. Riding the cold frost sword, they summoned other magical treasures and began using them to attack. The effects of magical treasures were much clearer. For example, their immortal swords were able to kill over 100 beetles. But with how many beetles there were, killing only 100 was like throwing a cup of water on a burning cart of firewood. As the 7 of them retreated, they continued to attack the beetle army. Yuan Luodong shouted, "Everyone scatter! Retreat to the outside!" At this time, no one cared about anyone else. Those who could run were the first to flee to the surrounding sealed space. Su Fong was also standing on his cold frost sword. He had just followed Qin Yuan, but Qin Yuan was over 10 times faster than him. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared. Su Fong was the slowest. When he looked back, he saw that a portion of the beetle army was chasing after him, while the other portion had returned to the sealed space. Green Feather King promptly said, "Throw them off. These insects should be a special kind of goo. They specialize in absorbing corpse chi and devil chi." When the immortal sealing gate sealed the Pura True Devil, they worked together with a green fiendish true talisman to protect the sealed space. Goo worms, even with the 7 of them working together, they still couldn't deal with Su Fong. Goo worms are so terrifying. At first, they weren't terrifying, but after 10,000 years, those goo worms have already absorbed a huge amount of devil chi. Perhaps the devil chi has already taken control of them. Those goo worms are now as tough as the 10th heaven stage of the longevity realm, or even the undying realm. Fortunately, they don't know any divine abilities. They can only use primitive attacks. If they did, you wouldn't be able to last more than a few exchanges, explained Green Feather King. I really need to go to Goo King Valley and learn more about goo worms from Goo Master. It really is unexpected that goo worms can reach such a level. Run. Controlling the icy frost soared through the layers of seals. Long Chun felt like he was in an ancient tomb. Occasionally, he would see some ancient ruins where a battle had occurred. It seemed this world was the place where the immortal sealing gate had fought the Pura True Devil. In the end, the Pura True Devil had been sealed here. Whoosh whoosh. Su Fong suddenly heard several gusts of wind. He thought it was Yuan Luodong and the others coming to help him. But in the blink of an eye, several silver-robed masked experts had arrived. Weren't they the Ziwei Star Sex experts who had tried to kill Su Fong outside the stone cave? The silver-robed men were also shocked. One of the undying experts shouted, "Enemies really do meet on a narrow road. Kill him. We can't let the immortal sealing gates people know we found the sealed space." Creak. A wave swept over from behind. Without waiting for the Ziwei Star Sex experts to attack, Su Fong immediately retreated. They quickly chased after him, but they saw a goo worm army rushing over. Su Fong took advantage of the situation to fly in another direction. The Ziwei Star Sex people didn't care about the goo worms. They thought they were just ordinary things. They only sent a longevity realm expert to chase after Su Fong. Crack! A series of divine abilities struck the goo worm wave. However, a metallic electric current erupted. How sturdy! The Ziwei Star Sex undying expert retreated in shock. Although they had killed some goo worms, the goo worm army's numbers were so shocking. Could they kill them all? Clearly not. Let's shake off these beetles first. Then we'll wait for Brother Wong to return. Then we'll search for the green fiend true talisman in the depths of the immortal sealing gate seal. The undying expert raised his hand, and several experts followed him to retreat. Brat, where are you running? You're just a 6th-level heavenly fusion ant. Why haven't you surrendered? Deeper in the sealed space, the masked, silver-robed expert's cultivation had reached longevity realm 10th level. His strength was naturally on par with Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan. He was closing in on Su Fong at an astonishing speed. From the corner of his eyes, he saw the Ziwei Star Sex experts continuously attacking. His heart trembled. The speed of a longevity realm 10th level expert is 10 times faster than me. Escaping is not a solution in the end, but it's too late to set up a formation now. Moreover, my strength can't reach longevity realm 10th level at all. Green Feather King reminded, Brat, release the 3 junior commanders. Their strength is close to longevity realm 10th level. Then, use your methods to sneak attack this person. He will definitely be killed. Or lure this person into an even denser demonic chi space. With the demonic chi suppressing him, he will definitely be finished. Hee. I have to make good use of my advantage. In a moment of desperation, he was still not as calm as old Antique. Su Fong was almost vertical, falling into the space below where the demonic chi was even denser. The Ziwei Star Sex experts chased after him, also falling in pursuit. It was just that this vertical was not as shocking as before, only because the surrounding demonic chi was getting more and more terrifying. It felt like he had entered an icy cave that had been sealed in ice for 10,000 years. Looks like you want to use the demonic chi to suppress me, but you'll still be shackled by the demonic chi. Looks like this is a life and death struggle. Although the Z-Way Star Sex expert's expression couldn't be seen clearly, he was definitely proud of his victory. He was like an astonishing meteorite falling from the sky, and Su Fong below him was an ordinary falling rock. The meteorite was going to crush the falling rock into pieces. It seems like I've entered the depths of the seal. There are all kinds of people in this sealed land. I'm not afraid of using my true strength. However, I still have to change my appearance to avoid being discovered by the true experts of the Celestial Sealing Sect. Su Fong's appearance changed once more. He now had the appearance of a middle-aged man. Then he activated the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Swish, swish. The Flying Tiger King and the two Azure Snake Greater Demons were waiting for the Z-Way Star Sex experts to land in the pagoda shadows, as if they were hunting prey. The Z-Way Star Sex expert was startled. Where did these three big goblins come from? Swish, swish. The Flying Tiger King and the two snakes immediately transformed into their true forms. The Flying Tiger King attacked from the front, releasing demonic chi and a tyrannical tiger-shaped divine ability. The huge green snake's body was like two whips, and it spat out venom as it attacked the Z-Way Star Sex experts. Rainbow Soul-Sucking Bell. Su Fong hit himself. At this time, the Z-Way Star Sex expert would definitely panic. Adding on the fact that he was in a world of demonic chi, his mental defenses were collapsing. Now is the time to use the Rainbow Soul-Sucking Bell to confuse him. Ding! Ding! The sound of wind chimes rang out as the three commanders surrounded the Z-Way Star Sex expert and slowly seeped into him. Su Fong activated the illusory restrictions within the Soul-Sucking Bell. Using his spiritual strength, he combined the sounds, senses, and the auras of the three commanders. Gradually, the Z-Way Star Sex expert's aura became more and more terrifying. He seemed to have entered a state of madness. He waved a blue immortal sword and attacked randomly. Sword chi and sword formations exploded in all directions. The Z-Way Star Sex experts had already fallen into an illusion. They thought that there were greater demons everywhere, and they were fighting against a large number of demons. Su Fong sent a voice transmission. I can't let him waste his energy. Flying Tiger King. Yes, Master. The Flying Tiger King's body shrank, and he transformed into a burly middle-aged man. With a whoosh, he charged behind the Z-Way Star Sex expert. With a bang, a bloody mist appeared. He smashed the Z-Way Star Sex expert's head with a single punch. This was the power of a golden core big goblin. It was about the same as the 10th level of the longevity realm. The Flying Tiger King carried the headless corpse and arrived in front of Su Fong with the two young men who had transformed into green snakes. Su Fong sucked the three demons into the Xianhuang space. This was the first time he truly felt the power of the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. Just the three commanders could help him kill a 10th level longevity realm expert. If he could suppress a large number of commanders in the future, just how powerful would he be? Golden cores and magical treasures should be quite a few, right? The Z-Way Star Sect was in existence on the same level as the Immortal Sealing Sect on the Crimson Firmament continent. Their history was even longer. Their disciples at the 10th level of the longevity realm would definitely have shocking treasures. Chapter 170. Carrying the corpse, Long Chun looked around. As expected, this was the ruins of a battle. Although the devil chi was shocking, it had been refined by Su Fong's yang chi. In this world of devil chi, he wasn't suppressed at all. In a flash, he arrived at a sword-shaped cave covered in devil chi. This cave had been split open by sword chi. He didn't know how long it was, but it was at least 30 meters deep. It could be imagined how terrifying the sword chi had been. Daluo Heavenly Sword Chi. Originally, Long Chun had wanted to sit down and rest. After all, he still needed some time to get used to the seal. But when he arrived at the sword-shaped cave, he saw some floating spirit stones. These spirit stones were sword-shaped and they were about the size of a finger. The Daluo heavenly sword Chi's aura came from them. It seemed this cave had been split open by the Daluo heavenly sword Chi. Green Feather King sighed. After 10,000 years, the Daluo heavenly sword Chi has remained here. It hasn't dissipated. Instead, it has absorbed all kinds of spirit stones and turned into Daluo heavenly sword Chi spirit stones. You should collect them. In the future, when you set up the Daluo heavenly sword Chi, they'll be very useful. You can also sell them for a high price in the Immortal Sealing sect. Any disciple who cultivates the Daluo heavenly sword Chi will need them. Then what was there to be polite about? Su Fong leaped up and used his Chi to suck the floating sword Chi spirit stones into his bag. There were at least hundreds of thousands of them. They were low or middle grade. Adding on the Daluo heavenly sword Chi, their value was about the same as high-grade spirit stones. After putting away the majority of them, Su Fong's attention was drawn to a few black gold spirit stones. There are also some spirit stones containing devil Chi. This was once the Tao right of the Devil Path's experts. After 10,000 years, the devil Chi will definitely merge with some spirit stones. Those spirit stones are called devil stones. In the Devil Path, devil stones are also treasures. Don't stand on ceremony. You can sell them at the Super God Sect in the future. Supreme God Sect. It's a very complicated power. It's called a sect, but it's not a sect. It's called a merchant association, but it's also not a merchant association. However, it specializes in secretly buying and selling forbidden items. For example, if someone on the Crimson Firmament continent needs Devil Dao resources, they'll buy them from the Supreme God Sect. In this king's eyes, although the Supreme God Sect is divided into 3 factions and 9 factions, they have many experts. There are also experts from the demon race. For example, you can sell the green fiendish true talisman to the Supreme God Sect, and you'll definitely make a fortune. Or you can sell the Daluo heavenly sword Chi spirit stones. There are countless powers on the Crimson Firmament continent and outside the continent that want to obtain the power of the 7 divine abilities of the Immortal Sealing sect. There's such a force. Crimson Nimbus Continent Su Fong really didn't know much about it. He only knew about some big sects, such as the Broken Sword sect, the All Saints sect of Green Mountain, and the Ziwei Star sect. He had never heard of the Supreme God sect. After collecting all the spirit stones, Su Fong sucked out the Ziwei Star sect's golden cores and empty pouches. He directly tossed the corpses into the Xianhuang space and rewarded them to the 3 junior commanders. There really are a lot of treasures. A large amount of pure yuan pills. There's also a small amount of pure yuan pills that have reached the undying realm. Su Fong was only focused on pure yuan pills and gold. After sucking out quite a bit of gold, he transferred it to the Flame Cloud Spirit Gourd for it to refine. Then he focused on his golden core. A golden core at the 10th level of the longevity realm was as tough as a boulder. Unfortunately, he didn't have a golden core. If he did, his golden core would be much tougher. With this golden core, breaking through to the 7th level of heavenly fusion won't be a problem. Consuming several pure yuan pills, he activated his flesh fetus divine armor. He was no longer the Immortal Sealing Sect's Fong Yu, but a foreign cultivator here to steal treasures. Whether it was the Immortal Sealing Sect's green fiendish true talisman or the Brahma true devil's corpse, he wanted them both. The flesh fetus divine armor was the symbol of an expert. Even that Ziwei Star sect's disciple hadn't managed to cultivate it. Boom! Half a day passed. During this time, Su Fong's strength had increased a bit. His ears twitched slightly. He slowly left the sword-shaped cave and heard some movement. When he got a bit closer, he immediately heard a despairing voice. "Don't answer people. You. That thing can only be obtained by me," said a young man calmly. "Who is sneaking around over there? Come out." Su Fong had only just heard some movement when that young man sensed his aura. Swoosh! In the time it takes for a spark to fly off of a piece of flint, a black-robed man appeared in front of Su Fong, holding his severed head in his hand. He clearly wasn't a righteous cultivator. Furthermore, this young man only seemed to be in his mid-20s. His aura was different from ordinary people. His ears were abnormally straight and a bit pointed. He was clearly different from humans. Looking at the head in his hand, it also had the same ears as him. Greenfeather King warned in his mind, "This is someone from the devil path. He should be the expert your immortal sealing sect is looking for." Once a devil path cultivator enters the devil path, their devil energy will awaken, and they will gradually change from humans. I heard that true devils have ears as high as the top of their heads and 2 long fangs in their mouths. This king had fought with the devil path's experts in the past, and there really were devils on that level. As for this young man, he shouldn't have truly changed his constitution. Don't answer people's questions. You won't have a good death. The head in a man's hand began to speak. You're already like this, yet you still have so much nonsense to say. Mo Ingrun raised his hand, and the head turned into a skeleton. The head's flesh and blood had all been sucked into his palm. Devil Mo Ingrun stared at Su Fong. Another righteous cultivator has sent himself to my door. Your flesh and blood just so happens to be perfect for refining skin puppets. I won't fight with you. Su Fong felt this person was too dangerous. Although he wasn't as nothingness as Yin Kai Fong, he was at least in the undying realm. Swoosh! He activated his immortal sword and flew in another direction. Mo Ingren also flashed in another direction. In the blink of an eye, he had sucked a headless corpse into his palm. With another flash, he chased after Su in midair, where the seal had disappeared. Su Fong's hearing was astonishing. He could hear Mo Ingren getting closer and closer. Was he really going to fight with him? There's more movement. The devilish Shi ahead is 10 times stronger than here. Just as he was about to clash with Mo Ingren, he heard some movement ahead. It seemed there were cultivators ahead. Furthermore, he sensed a shocking amount of devilish chi being released from the depths. It was very likely the Brahma true devil seal. Swish! A bolt of lightning flashed within the demonic chi. Outside a demonic chi array, an old man with a goatee was attacking it. Su Fong flashed over, causing the goateed elder to turn around. Su Fong didn't even have time to see the elder's appearance before he flew in another direction. Mo Ingren followed closely behind. However, he didn't chase after Su Fong. Instead, he sized up the mysterious goateed elder with hostility. Are you also thinking about the seal? Demonic Tao cultivator. The goateed elder turned around in surprise. You are here for the Brahma, true devil's corpse. I am here for the celestial sealing sex sealing treasure, the green fiend true talisman. You and I can work together to break the last layer of the seal. Mo Ingrun was very straightforward. We can work together because our opponents are both from the celestial sealing sect. The goateed elder was also surprised. In the blink of an eye, Mo Ingrun arrived in front of the demonic Tao seal. He stared at the shocking seal and said, "This celestial sealing sect's 10,000 deities seal has killed so many experts of the demonic Tao. Especially 10,000 years ago, when the celestial sealing sect was rising at a shocking speed, many demonic Tao factions of the Crimson Firmament continent were destroyed one by one. My ancestor was once a disciple of the celestial sealing sect. The secret of this Brahma forest was passed down from generation to generation. The heaven and earth anomaly caused a huge change in the Crimson Firmament continent. This is the best opportunity for me to seize the green fiend true talisman. Fortunately, the strength of this seal's array is not even 1% of what it was 10,000 years ago. Tut-tut. The demonic shadow surged with a large amount of dark divine ability light that was like a huge snake. It was like a ghost that grabbed at the seal's array formation. The seal's array formation was grabbed like a balloon and was almost crushed by Mo Ingren's grab. Young man, what's the rush? This array formation is at least at the imperishable realm. If you and I don't work together, how are we going to break it? The goateed elder suddenly condensed a brush tip. The sharp aura caused Mo Ingren to show a serious expression. Bang! Bang! The two experts attacked at the same time, causing the seal's array formation to shake continuously. On the ground, far away, Su Fong released his Great Circle ability. When he heard the sound of the array formation's attack, he didn't plan to leave. Fine. If these two break the array formation, I will have a chance to obtain the treasure. Moreover, these two can't really work together. Once the array formation is broken, they will kill each other. The Brahma True Demon's corpse was originally not attractive to Su Fong. However, now that he knew about the existence of the Supreme God sect, the demonic corpse could be exchanged for a huge price. The Green Fiend True Talisman was even more useful. Buzz! Su Fong's body suddenly stiffened. His left ear twitched slightly. Why are there more experts here? Could it be Yuan Luodong, Qin Yuan, and the others? The Brahma Forest was a training ground. Naturally, many experts came here to search for treasures. However, to be able to come to the depths of the demonic chi space, they must be the experts among the experts. In the place where the demonic chi was sealed, he couldn't see anyone with his eyes. However, Su Fong heard clearly that the other party should be alone and was approaching the center of the demonic chi. In an instant, a shocking sandstorm-like explosion was set off in the center. The array formation should be broken. Su Fong flew into the sky. This sandstorm swept up in the depths of the sealed world with shocking power. It was as if a huge explosion had suddenly occurred. It seemed that as long as the cultivators were in the sealed world, they would be able to sense this huge movement from the center of the seal. The seal in the center is indeed broken. When he got closer, Su Fong saw a spark spreading out from the depths of the seal. It was very beautiful. Green Feather Monarch said, "It has been sealed for 10,000 years and has experienced 2 changes. No matter how powerful this 10,000 God seal is, it has only reached the imperishable realm now." Whoosh! Whoosh! Just as he was about to enter the center of the seal, Su Fong's ears twitched again. He heard the sound of wind rushing from different directions toward the center of the seal. These experts must have come because of the tremors. In the blink of an eye, several figures flashed into the center of the demonic chi. Su Fong was almost the last person, but he was not late. He arrived in midair and looked down. More than a dozen cultivators were fighting below, and near the center, Missouri Ingren and the old man with the goatee were indeed fighting each other. There were probably 7 experts from the Ziwei Star sect. The others were not from the Celestial Sealing sect. However, in just a short while, a dozen experts from the Celestial Sealing sect flew over. Yuan Luodong, Qin Yuan, and the others were among them. There were also a few people who came out from the shadows. They looked very mysterious. Like the Ziwei Star sect's experts, they didn't want others to know their identities. There's also a space surging with demonic chi at the center. That must be the Brahma True Devil's corpse. Su Fong hadn't made a move yet. He wanted to confirm the Brahma True Devil's corpse and the Green Fiendish True Talisman. Looking into the depths, there was a demonic chi space dozens of meters tall that seemed to be expanding. There seemed to be an abnormally terrifying existence inside. That was probably the Brahma True Devil's corpse. Chapter 171. But even with the Boruo True Devil's corpse and the sealed Green Fiendish True Talisman, Su Fong couldn't get close. The goateed elder and Mo Ingrun were around. He could only wait for the two of them to charge into the devilish chi before he could enter. Otherwise, if he approached now, it would be the same as challenging the 2 experts. Let's go in. Half an incense stick's worth of time later, dozens of experts were fighting. The devilish chi in the center also spread out, causing Su Fong to feel refreshed. The goateed elder and Mo Ingrun entered the devilish chi space together. Swoosh! Su Fong flashed and flew into the devilish chi space above the experts. When the devilish chi touched his skin and chi, it immediately corroded. Why was the devilish chi here still so powerful after being sealed for 10,000 years? Someone seemed to be charging in from behind. Su Fong didn't have time to turn around to see who it was. Suddenly, a humanoid figure slashed at his back with a Pui sword. A puppet. In this devilish chi world, Any energy or divine ability that wasn't devilish chi would be shackled by the devilish chi. That was why Su Fong reacted. After dodging, he saw an expressionless bronze man holding a mid-grade flying sword flying toward him. A defensive barrier floated over from the devilish chi behind him. A cultivator floated inside it. He wasn't from the Ziwei Star sect or the Celestial Ceiling sect. Although I'm not afraid of devilish chi in this devilish chi world, I can't use divine abilities. Most of their power will be shackled here. Seeing the other person driving a puppet over, Su Fong's heart shook. He immediately flew deeper into the devilish chi space. The other person didn't chase after him. Instead, he moved closer to the devilish chi. It seemed he was also here for the treasure. Su Fong saw that the other person was focused on getting the treasure. Since he didn't chase after him, he also moved closer to the center of the devilish chi. This time, the devilish chi turned blood red, turning the space into a sea of blood. The devilish chi pressed against his skin as if it wanted to enter his body. He didn't expect the devilish chi to be so terrifying. It seemed to be looking for a host. Some of the blood red patterns kept changing. As he moved closer, he vaguely saw a large number of blood red figures enter the body of the cultivator who had attacked him before. Then his body started to fall from his head. His Taoist robe was corroded, and his skin peeled off layer by layer. Some blood flowed out. That devilish chi was strange. Seeing this, Su Fong hurriedly flew in the other direction. Out of curiosity, he retreated to take a look. For some reason, the skinless bloody man continued to walk towards the depths of the demonic chi. Could it be that the devilish chi was so terrifying that it could directly corrode experts? Old man, you still want to steal my things. Su Fong heard another familiar voice, Mo Ingrun. In slow motion, Mo Ingrun controlled a large amount of demonic chi and fused it into a demonic sword. He controlled the demonic sword to press down on the goateed elder. The two of them were competing to see whose cultivation base was higher. It seemed like both of them had reached the undying realm and the imperishable realm. Su Fong had no choice but to change his direction and try to make contact with the blood-colored devil chi. He had to make preparations in advance. He activated the 9-yang true chi in his body and the black-yellow 6 paths pagoda to control the devil chi. His flesh fetus divine armor was powered by 9-yang true chi. When it entered the blood-red patterns, he felt the devilish chi begin to corrode his skin. Su Fong felt a burning pain on his skin. The devilish chi was corroding his skin. Now he understood why the previous expert's skin had fallen off. The flesh fetus divine armor seeped out of his skin. Under Su Fong's control, the devilish chi devoured the flesh fetus divine armor. But this time, the devilish chi was absorbed by 9-yang true chi. Green Feather King said, "The yang chi you cultivate is tyrannical and fierce. It's pure, righteous chi that can restrain any evil energy in the world. However, this sealed space is very strange. Perhaps this is no longer the original sealed space. Under normal circumstances, the devil chi here should have long since disappeared. Junior also feels cold. Since I'm here, I could take a look at the situation inside. If I can take the treasure, I'll take it. If I can't, I can report the situation to the Immortal Ceiling Sect. I can't come here for nothing." Su Fong continued forward. The flesh fetus divine armor was constantly being corroded by the devilish chi. Lake, blood lake. Most likely, he had already reached the heart of the sealed space. Su Fong didn't want to go any further. What he saw made him give up on any thoughts of taking the treasure. A lake of blood. Su Fong hurriedly hid behind a boulder and saw many bloodied men without human skin standing in the middle of the lake. Their blood dyed the lake red, and there were all kinds of spirit stones in the lake. Above the lake, there was a burning green fiend, true fire. There were over 40 of them. Unfortunately, he couldn't see their identities, but he was certain they were still alive. Su Fong could only ask King Greenfeather, but King Greenfeather also couldn't believe it. Is this the Devil Dao's legendary Devil Infant Marrow Cleansing Art? Devil Infant Marrow Cleansing Art? These blood people are all cultivators and human cultivators at that. But when they reached the depths, they were corroded by the devilish chi. Their minds were wiped out, and they became walking corpses. The Devil Tao has a great divine ability called the Devil Infant Marrow Cleansing Art. It's a divine ability that the Devil Tao's experts use to reconstruct their devil bodies. In truth, some righteous path experts also use this divine ability to reconstruct their true bodies. If it really is the Devil Infant Marrow Cleansing Art, that means this place has already been taken by an expert. They're using the bodies of these cultivators to reconstruct a new true body. Then look at the Green Fiend True Flame. That means the sealed treasure, the Green Fiend True Talisman, was also taken by that person. Green Feather King really did know about the Blood Lake and the Blood People. So there had long since been an even more powerful expert who had entered the sealed space and taken the Green Fiend True Talisman. Then he cultivated an evil cultivation technique here. Swish! Layers of blood-red devil runes suddenly extended from the blood-red devil chi behind him. These devil runes suddenly enveloped the space where Su Fong was at. Damn, was I discovered by an expert? Seeing the surrounding devilish chi transform into chains, Su Fong finally realized the problem. He activated his flesh fetus divine armor to prevent the devilish chi from entering his body. Then he raised his strength to his peak. His left hand slapped the air, and the flame cloud spirit gourd vaguely appeared in his palm. The person cultivating the Devil Infant Marrow Cleansing Art is definitely incomparably powerful. If they aren't in the undead realm, they might be in the undead realm. With your cultivation base, you aren't a match for them. Fortunately, that person hasn't condensed a true body yet. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to block a single move. Use the Flame Cloud Spirit Gourd to absorb the devilish chi. Swish, 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 swish. The devilish chi chains shot towards Su Fong one by one. His left hand released a powerful suction force that reassured Su Fong. The Flame Cloud Spirit Gourd was actually able to absorb the devilish chi, causing the chain's power to weaken. Then he used the Flame Cloud Steps. With a single kick, he broke the chains that had lost the support of the devilish chi. Even so, there were still more chains forming. I just so happened to need an outstanding physical body. Blood-colored devilish chi began to appear in the devilish chi space. A hoarse voice rang out, followed by an illusory blood figure. That blood figure spat out quite a bit of devilish chi into the distance. Swish! Su Fong turned his head to look. In the air, within the burning devil chi, there were two figures imprisoned. They were the goateed elder and Mo Ingrun. Green Fiend True Flame. Could it be that this person has grasped the immortal sealing gate's great divine ability? Just like that, two powerful undead experts were suppressed by this mysterious expert. When Su Fong saw this scene, his heart turned cold. As for that burning devilish chi, it contained a bit of the Green Fiend True Flame's aura. Su Fong had also grasped this divine ability, so he could naturally sense it. There's still a brat struggling. Once I have my true body, let's see if you can still act like a little flea. The illusory figure seemed to have noticed Su Fong as well. He sneered at him and then controlled the burning devilish chi to enter the blood lake. The goateed elder and Mo Ingren desperately struggled within the devilish chi. Unfortunately, it was useless. The person controlling this blood lake was far stronger than them. Mo Ingren actually knelt. Senior Devil Infant Marrow Cleansing Art. I am Mo Ingren, and I am also a member of the Devil Tao. Please spare my life. The mysterious figure was startled. You even know about the Devil Infant Marrow Cleansing Art? Seeing that you're also a Devil Tao cultivator, I originally wanted to use you to plan a devil shadow and recover my true body. If you submit to me, I can let you live. Unlike those righteous cultivators, I definitely won't let them off. Of course I know. It's because I know this that I came to the Polo Forest. I want to use this forbidden art to obtain the true devil blood sealed here. True devil blood? Could it be that there are very few true devil experts in the Devil Tao? Indeed, A true devil is a supreme devil with devil blood. A lowly existence like me can only possess the blood of a true devil and become a true devil with pure devil blood. Good, good. You really want to obtain the true devil blood? Even in my dreams, I wish that once I become a true devil, I can establish a small devil Tao faction. I'll give you the true devil blood, and you'll serve me for the rest of your life. Because I have the true devil blood, it'll be extremely easy for me to suck out all your devil blood. Become my slave. The mysterious figure began to shrink, turning back into a normal person. But it was still impossible to see its outline. It looked like a person made of blood. Green Feather King was incomparably solemn. True devil blood. This person is actually a true devil. Su Fong didn't understand. He didn't understand what Mo Ingrun and this mysterious figure were talking about. I don't know if it's because he possessed the true devil blood of the Polo Forest True Devil, or if he originally possessed the true devil blood. In any case, once he condenses a new physical body, he'll have the power to surpass the undead realm. Why aren't you running? Green Feather King's expression changed. But Su Fong couldn't leave just because he wanted to. There were too many devil chi chains. With his strength, he could only slowly break through them. I'll give you the true devil blood. Within the blood lake, the blood-colored figure suddenly raised its hand, and 3 drops of blood condensed in its palm. Mo Ingren knelt and raised his head, watching as the 3 drops of blood dripped into his head. Chi. He seemed to become weightless as he floated in the devil chi. His body was bubbling with blood, and a faint devil Tao flame burned around him. Mo Ingren quickly regained control and stood up. But he had changed. He had become a monster. 2 fangs grew out of his mouth. They were about the same height as the tip of his nose, while his ears were almost as tall as the top of his head. The devil race's true devil. The goateed elder was so frightened that his legs went soft. Such an expert was actually so frightened that he couldn't control himself. The transformed Mo Ingren knelt in front of the blood-colored figure. From now on, I am Master's true devil slave. I can finally be considered a true devil. Chapter 172. Haha, I'll take you as my servant. In the future, you'll follow me into the supreme devil race. The mysterious blood figure bestowed the true devil blood to Mo Ingrun. Then he looked at the goateed elder, who had been scared out of his wits. Then you, an undying righteous cultivator, will become my sacrificial host. I'll suck out your marrow. The blood figure spread its arms, and all the blood in the lake began to be sucked dry. They all surged toward the goateed elder, who was unable to resist. The goateed elder was like a glutton as he devoured a large amount of blood energy. I am also willing to become senior servant. You're not worthy. Righteous cultivators don't have the qualifications to become my servant. Devil infant's heart. The blood devil infant's body suddenly shrank until it was like a baby. It entered the goateed elder's body along with the blood in the lake. As for the servant, Mo Ingron, he activated his divine ability to control the surrounding blood devil runes. It seemed the devil infant's marrow cleansing art also required a formation to support it. In almost an instant, the blood people in the lake turned into dried corpses or skeletons. The lake also disappeared, and the blood devil chi within it slowly dissipated. As for the goateed elder, his skin was falling off, and his body was burning. His eyes, mouth, lower abdomen, and chest all had baby-like heads that seemed like they were going to burst out his body. Some of the demonic patterns were burning, merging with his flesh and blood. Even his blood was black. Mo Ingron sighed in shock. Master, could it be that your senior true devil Borneo? True devil Borneo? Su Fong, who was fighting against the devil runes, was about to break through the last layer of attacks and escape this devil chi space. The blood-colored devil laughed complacently. Haha, my servant isn't stupid. Correct. I am the true devil Brahma from 10,000 years ago. The celestial sealing gate suppressed me for 10,000 years. Back then, they killed me, but they couldn't deal with the true devil's blood. How could they know that the true devil's blood is the true power of the devil race? Even immortals have a hard time suppressing it. I became a true devil. As long as the true devil's blood exists, I won't die. King Greenfeather sighed. The blood of a true devil is even more terrifying than the rumors say. Not even the immortal sealing school was able to suppress him. Now that he's revived, he'll definitely take revenge on the immortal sealing school. Boy, you're lucky you didn't destroy his reincarnation. He'll definitely be able to help this king deal with the immortal sealing school. Being able to resurrect after being killed? Could this be the blood of a true giant? What kind of existence is the true devil's blood? For someone to willingly become a servant for the true devil's blood, it seems the true devil's blood is truly extraordinary. Su Fong was also shocked speechless. In the past, in the state of Zhao, after learning about the state of Zhao's ancestral emperor, Zhao Wuji, who had lived for 3,000 years, Su Fong found it inconceivable. Then he had encountered King Greenfeather, Daojin Fox Mother in the hidden forest, and now he had personally witnessed the resurrection of the true Devil Boruo. Su Fong felt like this was what true undying meant. Undying. Even if he had been suppressed for 10,000 years, he could still be revived. Master is mighty. King Greenfeather praised the true Devil Boruo as a celestial. Back then, the immortal sealing school had countless experts besieging me. How could they have known that I had already obtained the true devil's blood? With the immortal sealing school's power, they were able to erase the true devil's blood. What a joke. My undying power isn't something the immortal sealing school can pry into. Reincarnation. The old man with the goatee shed his skin and became a blood-covered person. He began to grow new skin and a new head. His ears stood on end, and 2 bloody fangs grew out of his mouth. Devil. This was a true devil. I'll go kill that human. Now that the Brahma true devil had successfully reincarnated, Mo Ingren's killing gaze landed on Su Fong. Devil Chi is soaring. Could it be that the seal the elder spoke of really exists? The true Devil Boruo was a peerless expert from 10,000 years ago. It seems his devil body has already been obtained by the devil path. Everyone, be careful. At this time, 2 powerful male voices rang out in the Devil Chi space. The goatee elder had already obtained the perfect skin, and he was wearing a black cloak. He stopped Mo Ingren from attacking Su Fong. The immortal sealing school's people have come. Fortunately, there aren't any peerless experts. It seems the immortal sealing school still thinks that I, the true Devil Boruo, am just a little devil. Master, since the immortal sealing school's experts have come, why don't we retreat? Mo Ingren was worried about the immortal sealing school. What's there to be afraid of? They're just a few imperishable disciples. They're not on the level of the celestial sealing sect's elders. The Brahma true devil in the goateed elder's body disdainfully walked out with Mo Ingren. Blood-colored devil chi condensed once more, forming a terrifying devil chi space in front of the true Devil Boruo. That actually benefited Su Fong. The true Devil Boruo was clearly focused on dealing with the immortal sealing school's experts. He didn't have time to deal with a weakling like Su Fong. Su Fong knew that the immortal sealing school was coming, but he couldn't laugh inside. That was because he wasn't Fong Yu. If he transformed back now, the immortal sealing school's experts would definitely suspect that a heavenly union disciple like him could survive here. For him to be able to survive under the true Devil Boruo's power, was it related to the true Devil Boruo? All these suspicions would turn into a sharp blade that stabbed into Su Fong's heart. That was why he couldn't laugh at all. Right now, he could only be a foreign cultivator. Swish, swish. 3 figures descended from different directions. 2 of them were middle-aged men facing the true Devil Boruo and Mo Ingren, while the third person's target was Su Fong. Seeing the man in front of him, Su Fong was shocked. Undying Realm. This person is even stronger than Yin Chongluo and Fu Tianxin. I'm afraid this is the true peak of the longevity realm. He's a peerless genius from the high immortal heaven. Green Feather King said, "Fortunately, your opponent is an undying realm expert. Look at those two immortal Sealing School's disciples. They are already very high in the undying realm. Those are true experts. After reaching a certain level of the undying realm, they can leave the Zhuotian world and go to other small worlds to cultivate. Those two must be the elites of the immortal Sealing School." Su Fong remembered the appearance of these three experts from the immortal Sealing School. For them to be able to come at this time, they might be the immortal Sealing School's disciples who were training in the Boruo Forest and had come to seek help from the immortal Sealing School. Kill. Without a second word, the two undying realm giants, true giants, attacked the true Devil Boruo and Mo Ingren. How could they know that the goateed elder in front of them was the true Devil Boruo from 10,000 years ago? Bang! The undying realm expert in front also attacked. His attack was a terrifying claw. The array he was in was filled with countless claw runes. Heavenly Dragon Divine Claw. Su Fong's heart skipped a beat. The demonic chi space he was in was instantly grabbed by the undying Little Tycoon's divine ability. The demonic chi was instantly dispersed, and the resulting shockwave sent Su Fong flying back 100 meters. By the time he stabilized himself, he was already less than 30 meters away from the true Devil Boruo and Mo Ingren. The undying realm expert flashed over and saw some golden light seeping out of Su Fong's lower abdomen. A longevity realm expert. Longevity realm Su Fong wasn't a longevity realm expert. It was just that in order to not let people suspect his identity, he had absorbed the golden core of the Ziwei Star Sex expert into his Dantian. He had intentionally used the golden core's aura. Bang! Bang! At that moment, a truly destructive aura came from the side. Su Fong felt like he was instantly surrounded by sharp blades. Even the undying realm expert who was about to attack Su Fong was the first to dodge this aura. These auras came from the two undying realm experts of the immortal Sealing Sect. They had attacked the true Devil Boruo and Mo Ingren, but the two Devil Path experts had blocked them. But Su Fong was unlucky. If it weren't for the flesh embryo divine armor, he would have been half dead by now. His entire body was covered in wounds, and he was bleeding profusely. The longevity realm golden core in his Dantian had also been shaken to the point of exploding. The Green Feather King reminded, "Why don't you take this chance to hide and escape?" Where could he escape? Surrounded by experts, Su Fong was also very helpless. He braced himself and flew down. Taking advantage of the shocking aura from the side, the undying realm expert couldn't attack him. He instantly arrived at the bottom of the Blood Lake. At this time, there were several sealing pillars at the center of the Blood Lake. He could vaguely see some broken seal runes. The true Devil Boruo should have been sealed here. Unfortunately, the Green Fiend true talisman was gone. Wait a moment. Just as he was about to leave, Su Fong saw something beneath the sealing pillars. It seemed to be releasing a faint light. Before he could see what it was, Xuanhuang's worried voice came from his right arm. "Master, that's a treasure of the Devil Path. It's also a king-grade enchanted item, and it's very ancient. It's definitely an important treasure of the Devil Path. I don't know where it came from, but you can't touch it. Furthermore, Xianhuang can sense that it has been fused with the true Devil Boruo. Who cares? A king-grade enchanted item is the strongest treasure in a minor world. Who cares if it's useful or not? There are only benefits to obtaining it. At the very least, I can sell it for an unimaginable price." Previously, he had thought that this trip to the Boruo forest had been a waste. Not only had he come in vain, but he had also been heavily injured. Who would have thought that he would encounter a king-grade enchanted item now? Su Fong had always been very courageous. He wasn't afraid of things that others were afraid of. He didn't ask the Green Feather King for advice. He just used his divine ability to grab the blood-colored light. "Who dares touch my treasure?" A heaven-shaking roar came from above. The Boruo, true devil. When Su Fong grabbed Demon Shine, he was immediately noticed by the Boruo true devil who was fighting with the immortal sealing sex experts. Su Fong was focused on snatching the treasure, so he didn't pay attention to him. Furthermore, the Boruo true devil had just turned around, and his opponents were two undying giants. Swoosh! As he grabbed Demon Shine, he also sucked the Devil Path treasure into his bag. A blood-colored barrier instantly formed in the surrounding space. It seemed the Boruo true devil was using his divine ability. He hastily flew away, escaping from the blood-colored barrier in time. But 1,000 feet above him was filled with the terrifying auras of the two sides fighting. That undying giant was unable to chase after him. With a few breaths, he flew out of the depths of the abyss. He flew past the center of the destructive aura. At this time, he could clearly see the 10,000-year seal of this abyss shattering layer by layer. With the Boruo True Devil's resurrection and the Blue Fiend True Devil obtaining the Blue Fiend True Devil, this ancient seal would disappear sooner or later. Jumping up, he followed the sealed passage. He didn't see any other cultivators. Perhaps those cultivators had already died in this ancient sealed space. Whoosh! In less than half an incense stick's worth of time, Su Fong finally flew out of the depths of a mountain and into a dense cave. There were holes everywhere, and he couldn't tell which direction he was going. He immediately transformed into Fong Yu. At the same time, he hit his golden core and summoned the cold frost sword. In the blink of an eye, he had become a disciple of the immortal sealing sect. Now, even if that undying giant catches up, what can he do? I'm already a disciple of the immortal sealing sect. Su Fong smiled, but he still seized this moment to flee into the countless caves. He found a cave and began to heal his physical injuries. Chapter 173. Both his external and internal injuries had reached a very serious stage. The strength of the undead realm and the Brahma True Demon were probably very close to the undead realm. If it wasn't for the flesh fetus divine armor and his perfection realm physical body, he would still be alive. Impossible. After swallowing a dozen pure origin pills and using the 100 acupuncture points technique to stimulate his blood essence, his physical injuries gradually healed. His flesh also began to recover. What kind of treasure is it? Su Fong couldn't wait to see the demon sex treasure. Just as he was about to take it out to study, he remembered that the Brahma True Demon was still sealed. If he sensed it, it would be troublesome. At the same time, the token at his waist flashed. It turned out that Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan were summoning him from somewhere. His internal injuries hadn't recovered yet. He activated the token and sensed the other party's aura. He quickly flew over on the frost sword. An hour later, in a forest 100 miles away from the sealed area, Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan rushed over to meet up with Su Fong. Seeing that Su Fong was still alive, they were both surprised and delighted. It seemed that Su Fong was very important in Yin Caifeng's eyes. Otherwise, they wouldn't care so much about a disciple they didn't know. And a Heaven Fusion Realm disciple. A total of 7 people came this time. 3 junior brothers died in the sealed space. After arriving at a forest and landing, they saw a familiar longevity realm disciple. He was cultivating and recuperating. Of the 7, only 4 were left. After sitting down, Su Fong suddenly sensed another forest on his right. There seems to be a senior brother from the same sect nearby. They are from the other sections. After discovering the sealed space, everyone reported to their respective sections. I heard that they had already sent the High Celestial Heaven and Touching Celestial Heaven's peerless disciples to the sealed area. We're waiting for news here. Junior brother, rest well. We'll take a look around. After Yuan Luodong and Qin Yuan asked about Su Fong's experience, the two flew in different directions. Su Fong found a deserted place and quickly absorbed the demon sex treasure into his right arm, merging it into the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda space. What a good demon sect treasure. Xianhuang space. As soon as Su Fong's thought arrived, he saw Crane Fairy by Ling and Flying Tiger King, the 2 Green Snake Junior commanders, trembling in fear. Green Feather Monarch was currently examining a treasure that was emitting blood-colored demonic light, his eyes glued to it. For Su Fong, this was the first time he had seen a Devil Dao treasure. The magic treasure was a round plate that was about the size of a palm. It looked like a round inkstone and was covered with dense demonic characters. A royal grade magic artifact. This is a royal grade magic artifact. Senior, can you tell its origin? After a long time, Su Fong still couldn't figure it out. He could only sense from the aura of the magic treasure that it was similar to that of the true devil of Boruo. What an amazing treasure! Green Feather King recovered, and his bewilderment turned to certainty. If this king's guess is correct, this should be the Devil Path's legendary True Devil Blood Plate. True Devil Blood Plate. Green Feather Monarch continued. This king has fought with many Devil Dao experts in the past, so he has a general understanding of the Devil Dao. He also knows some demonic characters. This should be the True Devil Blood Plate. Kid, you've picked up a treasure that all Devil Dao cultivators want. Is that so? Wasn't it just a plate? Even if it was a royal grade magic artifact, royal grade magic artifacts shouldn't be rare in the Crimson Firmament continent. This is a legendary treasure. Only the overlords of the Devil Dao above the True Devil realm, or the sect master of a Devil Dao region, can possess such a treasure. There is a rumor in the Devil Dao that the Devil Dao is promoting the Devil Dao in minor worlds. They condensed many devil tokens, and that is the True Devil Blood Plate. They spread the True Devil Blood Plate in different minor worlds. Any Devil Dao cultivator who obtains the True Devil Blood Plate can open the treasure and obtain the true devil blood that the devil race planted inside. You've seen the true devil blood before, right? It's too amazing. The true devil Brahma's undying magic power must have been because he absorbed the true devil blood plate. He must have become a true devil that surpasses most Devil Dao experts. This true devil blood plate is the symbol of a hegemon in the Devil Dao. Whoever possesses it can become the overlord of a Devil Dao region. Furthermore, it's rumored that the devil race left behind many such treasures. I didn't expect the true devil blood plate to really exist. The true devil Brahma's luck was really bad. It's highly likely that 10,000 years ago, as soon as he obtained the true devil blood plate and became a true devil, he was surrounded by the immortal sealing sect. In the end, he was suppressed. Then 10,000 years later, he finally managed to use the devil infant marrow cleansing art and reincarnate, only to lose this Devil Dao treasure. Green Feather Monarch sighed. He also regarded the true Devil Blood Plate as a supreme treasure of a Devil Dao region. Senior, you make it sound so strange. And can I fuse with it? Su Fong even had thoughts of obtaining such an extraordinary treasure. Then have you ever seen a human control the power of the devil race? No, I have. Am I not one of them? Ah, you aren't modest at all. It's because of the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda, the mirror in your body, and the 9 Yang True Qi. So you've already thought of that. With your advantages, you should be able to fuse with it. But you have to find a special space in your body to cultivate the true devil blood plate. It's best if you don't cultivate it with your core. You have to minimize the risk. Even if Junior has no way, I have to think of a way. He couldn't miss this opportunity. For some reason, Su Fong had a voice in his heart, or perhaps in his head, calling out to him, making him want to obtain the true devil blood plate. After calming down and thinking about it, he quickly came up with a solution based on his Yang vein and violet Qi spirit. He took out the golden core he had obtained from the Ziwei Star sect and placed it back in his Dantian. Then he gradually absorbed the golden core's energy and used countless seals to firmly plant it in his Dantian. Su Fong then asked Green Feather King, Senior, I want to absorb the true devil blood plate into this golden core. It can also be considered a grafting technique. This way, I can hide my golden core and activate the true devil blood plate at any time. The Green Feather King calmly said, In any case, you don't have a golden core. Having a golden core won't affect you much. This is a good method. You can do as you see fit. You've already stepped onto a cultivation path that no one can predict. But once you fuse with the true devil blood plate, you have to be careful of extracting the devil path's energy, especially the true devil blood. That thing can change a devil path cultivator's physique, turning them into devils. If you have the courage, absorb some of the true devil blood plate and see what changes will happen to your perfect physical body. But don't absorb too much true devil blood. If you absorb too much, you won't be able to control it. Then you'll become a monster in the eyes of humans. A devil. A devil. A monster like the Brahma true devil. The green feather king side. But even if you become a devil, this king doesn't care. Whether you're a righteous or devil path cultivator doesn't matter to this king. The key is your choice. I won't step into the devil path. Not now. Not in the future. Su Fong solemnly vowed. But he also had a question in his heart. Even if he could guarantee that he wouldn't step into the devil path now, what about the future? Who could say for sure? He condensed 3 drops of essence blood and brought the golden core into the first layer of profound yellow. With the green feather king as his witness, Su Fong prepared to fuse with the true devil blood plate. The green feather king said, "This true devil blood plate already has an owner. Fortunately, this king is far stronger than the Brahma true devil. He can help you break his seal." Buzz. The 3 drops of blood landed on the true devil blood plate. Strip. The green feather king spat out a demonic flame. Su Fong also used green fiendish true fire to wrap around the true devil blood plate. The true devil blood plate was constantly trembling. The palm-sized blood plate actually grew to 3 meters in size. A large number of devil runes appeared, and the image of the Brahma true devil appeared inside. Boom! The green feather king flicked his finger, and a demonic flame shattered the image of the Brahma true devil. The image immediately exploded, turning into countless devil fragments. As for Su Fong, he gradually sensed the space within the true devil blood plate. Before, the true devil blood plate had still been resisting, but after the green feather king destroyed the Brahma true devil seal, it became unobstructed. He could enter the space and see a large number of devil path seals. He also began to understand many of the devil runes he didn't understand. And among those countless formations, there was a blood cauldron. Inside the blood cauldron was some terrifying devil blood that contained astonishing vitality. True devil blood. Su Fong was not unfamiliar with this aura. He was pleasantly surprised, but also apprehensive. The most important thing about the true devil blood plate was the true devil blood within the cauldron. Little fellow, this true devil blood plate is not an offensive or defensive magic treasure. It is an auxiliary magic treasure that condenses the true devil blood. Of course, it can also imprison devil path experts. In terms of offense and defense, it is far from being comparable to the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. However, the true devil blood plate's quality is about the same as the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda. Since it's a king-grade magic item, why doesn't the true devil blood plate have a yuan spirit? That is indeed strange. According to reason, king-grade magic items should have yuan spirits, but they don't have one. This king speculates that if the legends are true and the devil race refined a large number of true devil blood plates and sent them into countless minor worlds, then that means the true devil blood plate is just a magic treasure used to protect the true devil blood. It's just a shell, and there are so many of them. Even a supreme expert cannot guarantee the perfection of each true devil blood plate, explained the Green Feather King. Junior will slowly fuse with this peerless treasure. With it, I can also use it to suppress devil path cultivators in the future. Su Fong was looking forward to it. That was because he had a magic treasure that could control the devil race. Now that he had a supreme treasure of the devil path, he wouldn't need to be afraid of devil path experts in the future. Damn it, how could a righteous immortality realm cultivator fuse with my true devil blood plate? It was unknown if this was still the sealed space in the depths of Polo Forest. It was just an incomparably deep abyss. A black wind swept over. It was Polo, True Devil, and M.O. Ingren. Seeing that Polo True Devil had many wounds, he put down M.O. Ingren. You just reincarnated and are still too weak. You can't even kill 2 imperishable realm disciples of the immortal Sealing Gate. Mo Ingren asked. Master, now that we've escaped, where should we go next? After Polo True Devil formed a seal, the dark space turned into a domain of devil chi. He sat up high and looked down at Mo Ingren. Tell this king about your origins or the current situation of the devil path forces in the Crimson Firmament continent. Mo Ingren hurriedly replied, Master, the Crimson Firmament continent no longer has any devil path forces. Why? Close to 10,000 years ago, the Immortal Sealing Gate joined forces with the Z-Way Star sect and other major forces to massacre my devil path forces. Many devil path branches and devil path forces were all destroyed. The righteous path forces swept the entire continent. In the end, the devil path forces could only leave the Crimson Firmament continent. Damn righteous path forces. They weren't that arrogant in my era. Polo True Devil was unable to restrain his anger. After being suppressed for 10,000 years, everything had changed. Then, you didn't come from the Crimson Firmament continent? Chapter 174. Subordinate comes from the Devil Jade Island to the east of the Crimson Firmament continent. Devil Jade Island is an unfamiliar power. Boruo True Devil shook his head. Devil Jade Island has only been established for less than 10,000 years, and the first island master was also cultivating in the Crimson Firmament continent. I don't know if he had interacted with Master before, but the first Devil Jade Island's master actually knew the secret of how the Immortal Sealing sect had sealed Master. It's just that this secret had always been sealed. This subordinate accidentally discovered this secret and came to the Boruo forest controlled by the Immortal Sealing sect. How could he have interacted with me before? Back then, I was also an undead expert. Although I didn't stand at the peak of the Crimson Firmament continent, I was still a famous expert. Everyone in the Devil Down knew about me. But I don't have any impression of Devil Jade Island. I heard that Devil Jade Island's master left the Crimson Firmament continent because of the sudden change in the situation on the Crimson Firmament continent. He established Devil Jade Island outside. Then what about my Devil Dao power on the Crimson Firmament continent? On the Devil King continent? Devil King continent? Oh, it really is the Devil King continent. At that time, countless Devil Dao powers migrated to the Devil King continent because the strongest Devil Dao powers were there. I didn't expect that 10,000 years later, the Devil King continent would still unify the Devil Dao. Master, then do you want to go to the Devil King continent? With Master status as a true devil, you can immediately raise your hand and establish your own power there. Master is a high and mighty true devil. I'm not going to the Devil King continent. There are also many true devils there, and there are also shocking Devil Dao powerhouses there. Being a small leader is completely meaningless. I'll go to Devil Jade Island and suppress the Island Master. Being an Island Master is also not bad. Once my strength recovers, I'll think of another way, especially if I'm close to the Crimson Firmament continent. I want to find that human cultivator who stole my treasure. If I find him, I'll definitely turn his bones to dust. True Devil Blood Plate Boruo, True Devil's heart was bleeding. It felt like a knife was cutting his heart. A peerless treasure that could allow him to become a supreme, demonic alligator had actually been stolen by a human brat. He was determined to retrieve this treasure. In the depths of the hidden forest, Su Fong appeared to be in a normal state, but he was constantly fusing with the true demon blood plate. Green Feather Monarch had been standing guard by the side. After the advancement, Su Fong felt that his strength had taken another great leap forward. He estimated that his overall strength had already reached the 6th layer of Longevity Realm. At the same time as the advancement, the Fire Cloud Spirit Gourd also refined countless gold and silver. Most of the gold and silver aura entered the Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda, and a small portion entered Su Fong's body. Furthermore, the Green Fiend True Fire also improved. Looking inside his body, in his meridians, blood, and flesh, There were many green fiend, true fire, and great heaven sword chi condensed fire attribute and sword chi runes. These were the power that automatically formed after cultivating the two great divine abilities. And he once again condensed the flesh fetus divine armor. Because he had advanced to the 7th layer of Heaven Union realm, each divine pattern was thicker, and the condensed flesh fetus divine armor was naturally more sturdy. His focus was still on the cultivation of the 9 transformations, always focusing on attacking the 2nd yang meridian. It was just that he did not know when the 2nd yang meridian would be successfully condensed. Buzz! Suddenly, the token on his waist vibrated. Calculating the time, 1 month had already passed. He adjusted his breathing and flew out of this forest on the cold frost sword. So many people from the same sect. Arriving at the forest, Su Fong saw more than 100 disciples from the Celestial Sealing sect, ranging from the Heaven Union realm to the Longevity realm. Yuan Luodong, Qin Yuan, and another Longevity realm expert brought Su Fong inside. Qin Yuan whispered, "So the seal underground was left behind by the sect 10,000 years ago. It sealed the corpse of a peerless demon. I heard that the corpse even revived. Is that so?" Su Fong was startled. Many experts came from the sect. Among them, there are 2 big shots from the celestial, touching heaven, peerless disciples. There is also a genius from the immortal heaven of the ethereal Dao sect. He is a peerless elite on the earth ranking. It seems that he fought a great battle with the demon in the sealed ground, but he did not manage to kill the demon. Gathering us disciples should be to let us enter the sealed ground to find the whereabouts of the demon. The few of them were discussing quietly. Soon, all the disciples were gathered. There were many disciples from the 7 grotto heavens. A man from the immortal heaven of the ethereal Dao sect suddenly appeared. Seeing this man, Su Fong recognized him immediately. He wanted to kill him in the sealed ground. Unfortunately, this man's cultivation was too high. He was a peerless genius on the immortal heaven and earth ranking. Even he was afraid of the demonic aura. In the end, he let him escape. Under normal circumstances, Su Fong would not have been able to escape. The man looked down at everyone. "I am from the immortal heaven of the ethereal Dao sect.